Uchiha clan compound, Konohagakure no Sato, Hai no Kuni. A boy, age of 7 years, is running through the isolated area between the buildings. It is filled with traditional Shinto-styled buildings. The boy himself is 4 feet 3 inches, which is considerably tall for his age. He has jet black raven hair and azure, blue eyes just like his mother. His brothers apparently did not inherit the eye color that only he and his mother shared. He has slightly tanned skin and has a lean build for his age. Slight traces of baby fat can be found on his face as they accentuate his face pretty well. He is wearing a dark blue kimono and frantically crying because he previously heard writhing, nightmare-inducing screams coming from the main side of the compound. On the back of his kimono is a crest. The crest is that of a fan divided in 2 sections. The top half is red and lower half is white. However, now the color of his eyes have changed out of pure instinct. Just a few days ago he had learned that his remaining living brother had gone missing and was considered dead. His eyes had evolved from the traumatic news he had heard. A small opaque black dot lies in the center of his red iris. Surrounding the dot are 3 tomo, lazily spinning as if they are waiting for something to happen. This eye is a rare dojutsu and is considered one of the most rare Kekkei Genkai in the history of the shinobi world. The Sharingan. These eyes are known only to manifest in the eyes of those who belong to the Uchiha clan. Said boy is also an Uchiha. He had awakened his at age 6 and trained ever since an incident changed his life. He did however hide this fact at his brother's request. His name is Naruto Uchiha. This is his story. Naruto Uchiha was born to the lesser branch of the Uchiha clan, but he is nonetheless an Uchiha. Sometimes though he had been treated worse than dirt because of what his father Genjuro Uchiha did. He was considered somewhat of a traitor in the eyes of his fellow clansmen. Why, you ask? Genjuro and his wife Satsuki Uchiha were once considered the greatest Uchiha to emerge from the branch side of the clan since Kagami Uchiha. When Satsuki became pregnant with their first child, she immediately decided that she would quit the life of shinobi and raise a family. She had lost her brother in a battle that caused her to awaken the next stage of the Sharingan. The Manjikyu Sharingan. However, she was wise like her husband Genjuro, who had also awakened the Manjikyu, and rarely used it, fully aware of the consequence that followed from too much usage of the evolved dojutsu. After their first son was born, she was over the moon, as was her husband. Their first child was Obito Uchiha. He was a kind child who had inherited his parents' traits through and through. The main difference was that he was a slow learner when it came to being a shinobi. He would wear goggles and proclaimed that he was going to be the first Uchiha who became Hokage. He would later go on to study under Minato Namikaze, one of the most up-and-coming elite jounins of Konoha. 5 years after that, their second son Shisui Uchiha was born. Even from a young age he showed signs of being a prodigy. Yet unlike the normal Uchiha who would immediately gloat about this and inflate his pride so as to it could touch the sky, Shisui was rather kind in his behavior and very humble about his skills. He especially looked up to his brother Obito, who may have been weak in the eyes of the elite, but to Shisui he was what a shinobi should be. A person who never gives up and overcomes the odds. 8 years later. The family of 4 received news that make them happier than ever. Satsuki Uchiha is pregnant. Genjuro is happy that he would become a father once more, while both his sons are ecstatic to say the least. Obito was jumping in joy that he would once again be an Aniki to another little guy, while Shisui was happy at the fact that he would be an older brother. Their happiness was short-lived, however. An event changes the world. The Third Great Ninja War begins. As usual, Iwagakure is the cause of this once more. Genjuro Uchiha, one of the brightest leaf shinobi to emerge, was sent to the front lines and was part of one of the most important battles during the early stages of the war. During a raid in the Land of Waves, he had seen battalions of IWA shinobi who had taken over the place and seemed to be oppressing the people. A portion of his team that he was leading had been captured by IWA forces. Seeing that he would have to sacrifice his team, he disregarded all the rules and kicked the mission to the curb. He saved the lives of 15 Chunin and 10 Genin. He had also liberated the Land of Waves, but the IWA forces understood the strategy the Hidden Leaf had played and they changed their entire tactical plan towards the Canopy Bridge. In other words, Konoha had blown their chance to plan a surprise attack on IWA because Genjuro had valued the lives of his teammates and the people of Nami no Kuni more than the mission. He was however killed in action while saving the people. His greatest regret being that he could not see his newborn son being born into the world. He was not even given a proper burial as Root had decided to burn his body on spot so that no secrets could be spilled. Witnesses watched this and nobody protested against the fact that he would not be buried at his village. All the honor he got was a name on the memorial stone in Konohagakure no Sato. The Uchiha were outraged at the humiliation that Genjuro had brought them and had driven the family of 3, soon to be 4 to the edge of the Uchiha compound. Oftentimes the fellow clan members would berate and verbally abuse the family for bringing great dishonor to the clan. To his family however, they understood why he did it. He valued the lives of others over himself, to them he was a hero. That was just who Genjuro Uchiha was. A selfless shinobi. Even the general citizens of Konoha looked at them with disgust because, to their lesser knowledge, he had cost them an important victory in the early stages of the war. Obito had often spoken up against this, but the clan elders paid no heed as he was from the lesser branch of the family. Obito had sworn that once he became Hokage he would make sure the elders would apologize to him and get rid of the stupid system that divides the clan. Sadly for the young Uchiha he never got that wish to come true. He had sacrificed himself in the Battle of the Kanobi Bridge, which resulted in Konoha winning the Third Great Ninja War. Obito Uchiha was remembered as the shinobi who stayed behind and activated the explosion seals that destroyed the bridge. The right side of his body was crushed beneath a boulder, but he still pulled through with the mission after his team safely got away. Even after that the family was looked down upon, they were known as the Uchiha lambs. Only useful as sacrificial lambs, as some of the main members of the Uchiha household had put it. Obito's legacy however had lived on through his teammate Kakashi who had Obito's Sharingan in his left eye. It was a gift from Obito to him and his family appreciated the fact that their son and brother had a true friend, who would not waste the gift and Kakashi himself had adopted Obito's way of living as a shinobi. A girl named Rin Noera was also his friend but had died a few months after the war. Shursui would later go on to continue his brother's wish to protect his family and the village. He was quickly recognized as a prodigy and also awakened his Manjikyu Sharingan at the age of 8 after he heard his brother had died. He had previously awakened the Sharingan at age 5 after nearly dying because of an attack by unknown Anbu who committed suicide before they could be interrogated. However, as the darkness came to consume the family, a new light was born. 3 months after the war ended, Satsuki's third child was born. Naruto Uchiha. When Naruto was around 2 months old, the nine-tailed fox attacked and killed a lot of people in the village. The fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze had sealed the beast into an unknown newborn girl. He saved the village at the cost of his own life. The village had started to suspect the Uchiha clan, as they knew that the Kyuubi could be controlled by the Sharingan. Some of the people even called the youngest child of Genjuro a sign of calamity as his birth had resulted in an attack 2 months after he was born. Naruto Uchiha was a mix between his mother and father if his looks said anything. In terms of personality he was like both Shursui and Obito. He had Obito's somewhat goofy approach to life and was always calm like Shursui. Even the verbal beratings did not matter to Naruto Uchiha. He knew that he had his mother and brother who would always be there for him. He had also somewhat of an older brother figure in Itachi Uchiha. Itachi was a few years younger than Shursui but was his best friend. As Naruto had once eloquently put it, Itachi was not one of the Uchiha who had a stick up in his ass. Where a child had learned a term like that was beyond everyone present during the event. This had resulted in his mother chasing him comically, but he was able to avoid it every time. Normally he would run too fast or use the most powerful jutsu known to children, puppy eyes no jutsu. Naruto's personality drastically changed when his mother died from a disease when he was 6. This incident resulted in him awakening his Sharingan, with 2 tomo no less. Shursui decided that he would train his Aotodo. He secretly began training him and much to his surprise he was also a prodigy, albeit one that progressed at an abnormal rate. Naruto had rarely ever used the Sharingan and could do the traditional Uchiha fire-style jutsu after one go. Only Shursui and Itachi had known about his unnatural progress. He was even considered by both those prodigies to be someone who would give them a hard time once he grew up. He was however told to hide his skills at all times by them. He agreed with them without a second question. He had also inherited his oldest deceased brother, Obito's dream to become Hokage. He would do it for his brother and get rid of the boundaries that separated the two Uchiha family branches. Other than Itachi, he was close to Makoto Uchiha. She was the wife of the clan head, Fugaku. She was a very nice and kind person. She often used to tease him about how he would grow up to be a real ladies' man. This came on when he accidentally blurted that if he ever got married it would be to someone beautiful like Makoto. Realizing what he said, he had gained an embarrassing blush on his face, and she would often tease him to grow up so she could marry him. Her younger son Sasuke, who was the same age as around him, was quite weird, at least in his opinion. He always looked to be getting his father's attention and constantly trying to do things Itachi had performed at his age. He would also ignore Naruto for some reason. Naruto, however, in general, was happy despite all the shit the universe decided to throw at him. His Sharingan training went well and he had successfully mastered his Tsutomu, but only Shisui knew about that part. A few days ago, he received news that Shisui disappeared and was presumed dead. His eyes changed into the three-tomo Sharingan. His entire world had been broken apart. His only family was dead. Not even Itachi was around after that. Now, in the Uchiha clan compound. Where is everyone? Unfortunately for the boy, his questions are answered just not the way he wants. The sight before him is what shocked him to his core. Several dead bodies. Everywhere. All the people in the Uchiha compound were lying in pieces, or stabbed horribly as blood gushed out every now and then. He was shaking visibly and scared. He went near the body of a random person and was shaking it. "Hey! Please wake up." He started crying. What happened? Who did this? Naruto was wailing now. Such a gruesome sight was never meant for young ones like him. "I did it." A single cold voice cut through the air in the middle of the night. Naruto knew that voice all too well. There, standing in front of him with his Sharingan spinning wildly before taking on the shape of a Fuma Shuriken, stood Itachi Uchiha in an ANBU uniform. His body was covered with blood that was dripping from his body. His eyes looked like they were aiming to kill him. "Hello Naruto," Itachi said and let out a massive killing intent which resulted in Naruto's Sharingan deactivating. Naruto was shaking with fear as he fell onto his knees. His mind only raced to one conclusion. Did Itachi and I do all this? Itachi and I. Did you do all this? Naruto asked while whimpering. Yes. You've gotten a lot smarter than before, haven't you, Naruto? Itachi then looked at him more carefully. Perhaps I should kill you next, considering how you're progressing. Then Naruto's world turned black, red, and white. The Tsukiyomi world. Welcome to my world, Naruto. Itachi spoke with a soft, threatening voice. Naruto saw that he was hung upside down on a cross and he saw the scene around him. Itachi was killing the entire clan as blood spilled everywhere. It was too much for Naruto. He then saw Itachi kill Fugaku. But what really tore his heart apart was when he drove his Tonto through Makoto's chest. She was his guardian after his mother died, and seeing that was his breaking point. Please stop it, Itachi and I. Ni-san. Please help me. Naruto cried out for his brother Shisui. I'm afraid Shisui can't help you, Naruto. Itachi paused as the scene changed to a waterfall. Naruto saw Itachi and Shisui standing there. Shisui's back was turned to Itachi when Itachi stabbed him with a Tonto and ripped out both of his eyes. Shisui's body was falling into the large chasm where the waterfall was from the injuries he suffered. As Shisui fell, he looked towards Naruto and spoke. Why didn't you help me out, Todo? Naruto let out a scream hearing this from his only brother. Then something strange happened. The red sky of the Tsukuyomi world was starting to shatter. Itachi saw the reason as his genjutsu broke. Uchiha clan compound. Manjikyu Sharingan, Itachi muttered as Naruto's eyes changed to the shape of a four-bladed scythe joined in a circle. Imagine Obito's Manjikyu with 4 blades instead of 3, as his eyes began to slightly bleed from the usage. It seems that you have the same eyes as me, Naruto. Yet you cannot use it yet properly. Itachi then turned around to leave. When you are strong, come find me. Then we shall see who is the strongest of the Uchiha clan. These weak, pathetic clan members did not prove to be the challenge. Embrace your hatred, only then you will be able to defeat me and avenge Shisui. Dreamscape flashback. Naruto and his mother Satsuki were walking towards the Naka River. He could see the distasteful looks his own clansmen were throwing his way. Look, it's the traitor family. It's that Genjuro's spawn and his wife. Sacrificial lambs. That's all that family is good for. Why are they still allowed to live in the compound after the shame they brought? Naru-chan. Naruto was broken out of his thoughts and found 2 kind blue eyes looking into his own cerulean pools. Is something wrong? Gomen Ka-chan. Naruto spoke with a sad look on his face. I know you and Nisan told me to ignore what everyone says about us, but sometimes the things they say, it hurts so much. Naruto finished as a small sad look formed on his face. True, his brother always said that shinobi restrain their emotions, but this was hard sometimes. Words hurt more than actions. Satsuki came down to his level and pulled him into a soft hug. Even Naruto knew that his mother's health was not too well. She was not as strong as she used to be. Oftentimes he had to go to the hospital with her to get her a thorough checkup and come back home with bags of medicine that helped soothe her condition. Shisui worked overtime in the ANBU Black Ops to get more funds to find out if there was a cure to his mother's disease that was slowly eating away at her. Naru-chan. Never pay attention to what the villagers or the clansmen ever talk about you. Satsuki said with a sad smile. Your two-san and Obito Nii-san were heroes of the leaf. Always remember that, Sochi. Hi Ka-chan. Naruto tightened the hug on his mother and clung to her like a lifeline. After Shisui, she was the only family that Naruto had. Sochi, would you like to see your two-san and Nii-san again? Satsuki smiled and activated her Sharingan. Naruto shook his head and blurted out a no immediately. He then hugged his mother even tighter. It's okay, Ka-chan. Naruto said as he suppressed a sob. Sometimes Satsuki would perform Tsukuyomi to show him illusions of his father and Obito. He would laugh at how both of them were goofballs at times. Satsuki's Tsukuyomi was very powerful and at times felt like a separate reality itself. However, Naruto also knew that the strain it caused on her mother was too much and any further complications would make her even weaker. I already know what they were like. Besides, I have you and Nisan. That's all I really need. He released the hug and looked at his mother with a kind smile on his face. She cupped his cheeks and gently kissed his forehead. My little Naru-chan. You're going to be a fine man when you grow up. Satsuki then stood up as Naruto held her hand and walked towards their destination. Suddenly a soft tug was felt on Naruto's shoulder. He turned around to see Shisui standing there with a goofy grin on his face. Yo, Aototo. As soon as Shisui said this, Naruto pouted cutely. He hated the fact that Shisui could easily sneak up on him. Of course, this was Shisui, the teleporter known for perfecting the Shunshin no Jutsu to a new level. Hell, he left after images because of his proficiency.
Aww.
Is little Naru mad I sneaked up on him again? Shisui asked with a cheeky smile. Naruto was now annoyed and Satsuki was giggling at the interaction between her sons. One of these days, Nisan. One of these days you'll see just how strong I become. Then you won't be able to sneak up on me anymore. Naruto said with his chest heaving with pride. Shisui simply stared down at his brother and saw that his mother was looking at both of them with a sweet smile. A smile that was too sweet. All of her sons, including her husband, were afraid when she smiled like that. Shisui sweat dropped and knew that if he teased his Aototo any further there'd be hell to pay. After all, Satsuki Uchiha had loved Naruto more than any of her children. Instead, he just ruffled his younger brother's hair and smiled at his proclamation. You know what, Naruto? I have no doubt you will. Shisui said this and hugged his little brother, who simply gave into it. He picked up Naruto on his shoulders and asked where they were going. After hearing they were going to the Naka River, Shisui decided to accompany them. He just returned from a mission and wanted to spend his free time with them and his friend Itachi as much as possible. He had yet to get girlfriend, of course, even Itachi had one. This often caused dark clouds to gather over Shisui's head as he would sulk in the corner. Naruto especially found this habit of his hilarious. Shisui of course did not miss the glares being pointed at them. He too was not bothered by what the people thought. His father had taught his sons a lesson. A lesson that Shisui later passed on to his friend Itachi and later to his younger brother Naruto. A shinobi is a person who endures hardships and overcomes them. He is one who believes in self-sacrifice. He does not seek glory. A shinobi always protects his comrades. He is the guardian, the shadows. That is the mark of a true shinobi. Naruto was on his brother's shoulder and was looking at his family. In that single moment, only he knew how much he had cherished moments like this. Just you wait, Kaa-chan. Ni-san. I'll be even stronger than Tu-san one day. Konoha Hospital, Konohagakure no Sato, Hai no Kuni. Naruto got up from his sleep and saw that his eyes were bloodshot as tears were still freely falling down his cheeks. Kaa-chan. Ni-san. Itachi and I. Oba-chan and Naruto tried to hold back the tears that were still leaking. He could not. Every time he remembered his mother he would break down. His mother was his world when she was alive. Before she died, it was a rare sight to not see them together. After she got sick, Naruto at times refused to leave her side and even fell asleep on the bedside. At one point he even said he does not want to lose any more family and would gladly give his own life if it meant she could be healthy again. Funny how fate wanted to play with his already sad existence and added more chapters that sent him spiraling downwards. There was knock on the door and Naruto gave permission to come in. It was the Sandaime Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi. The professor. He was known to have mastered jutsu from all 5 elements and was the teacher of the Densetsu no Sannin, the 3 legendary shinobi of the leaf. He had survived all 3 great ninja wars and was a living testament to what shinobi should be. In the back of the mind of the third, guilt was being amassed in a large quantity as he knew, he was responsible for the boy ending up in the hospital. Still more than 45 decades of being a shinobi had enabled him to mask his emotions perfectly and he was doing it right now as a small fake smile spread across his face. How are you feeling now, Naruto-kun? Sarutobi asked as he eyed the boy curiously. I am doing fine right now, Hokage-sama. Naruto curtly replied and then looked down at his bed sheets. He remembered what Itachi did. All the bodies that were lying around in the main compound. He must have killed off the entire clan. But still Naruto asked with a silver of a hope, were there any other survivors, Hokage-sama? Hiruzen let out a sigh and had a solemn look on his face. I'm afraid not, Naruto-kun. It seems that Itachi had killed off everyone in the Uchiha clan except you and Sasuke. I am sorry. He added with a sad voice. Hokage-sama, Naruto looked at him curiously. Just before I lost consciousness I heard a swirling sound. Was there anyone else there? Hiruzen raised an eyebrow at this development. No, there wasn't anybody else there. Did you see anyone? No, Naruto added with a tone of finality. Has there been a funeral yet? No, it will happen in a few hours. Do you think you can make it there without any problems? Hiruzen asked. The boy had been hit with a genjutsu by Itachi. By all rights and privileges he should be in a coma or dead. The resilience in this young man was astounding in Sarutobi's eyes. Hi Hokage-sama. I will have to go back to the Uchiha compound first. I need to go change my clothes and... Naruto added as a grim feeling took him over. He realized something shattering about the compound. No one's there anymore. Do you want me to come with you, Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asked as he knew what sort of mental trauma the boy was going through. It's all right, Hokage-sama. If I need your help I will come ask for it. Naruto added with a tone of finality as he bowed his head. Hiruzen nodded and left the room as Naruto was alone with his thoughts once more. He was still sitting on the bed and finally decided to get up and stretch a bit. I should get going. Naruto put on his regular clothes which had been washed and headed out of the hospital. Konoha streets. Naruto was along the road and was getting rather frustrated. The people were constantly giving him strange looks. Usually it would be light glares. They considered him to be a living testament to his father's failure in the war. But now it was a different look. One that made Naruto look at them with disgust as one word came to his mind about the general civilian populace of Konoha. Pathetic. Naruto was annoyed because the same people that gave him ominous glares were now looking at him with a different view. It was a look that Naruto knew very well. Pity. He did not want pity. After his mother died some people tried to show him pity and he would let his emotions get the better of him. It wasn't until Makoto Oba-chan came along and helped him with this situation that he was able to temper his emotions more. As he remembered her he felt a pang of pain in his chest again. She was his mother figure and came every day to visit him. Sometimes when she couldn't, she would immediately be present the next day with some treats for him. She also tried to get her younger son Sasuke to be friends with him. Naruto tried. The keyword being tried. Unlike his brother Itachi, Sasuke was what Naruto called one of the generic Uchiha. Makoto Oba-chan had tried to break him out of the stick-up-my-ass personality but it seemed that Itachi had inherited her friendly personality. Sasuke was more like his father, Fugaku, in this case. Naruto had met Fugaku a few times and from what he perceived that man believed in might over compassion. It wasn't a bad ideal but he learned from Shisui that Fugaku had believed that the Uchiha clan should push further in their shinobi arts and he applied this to his eldest son Itachi. Itachi was a very kind person as Naruto remembered, in all aspects he was more like his mother. He was also a dangerous shinobi. He graduated from the academy after a single year at age 7. He became Chunin at 10 years old, he entered and won the tournament by himself no less. At 11 he joined ANBU Black Ops and became a captain in the Black Ops division by the age of 13. Fugaku Uchiha had truly succeeded with his firstborn and was constantly peer pressuring Sasuke to be more like his brother. Naruto suspected this was the reason why Sasuke was so gloom and doom all the time and that was the reason he wanted to surpass Itachi to gain his father's praise. In contrast to his childhood, Naruto had grown up with nothing but acceptance from his mother and brother. His brother was also a prodigy was said to be on par with Itachi or even better. Secretly, Sasuke had seen him spending time with his own family in bliss and even Itachi hung out with him sometimes. Sasuke was a bit jealous at the fact that his own mother and brother had spent time with Naruto, while he had to work hard to earn the respect of his father which he recently started to gain. Naruto of course did not know that Sasuke felt that way as this was never shared with him. Naruto shrugged off all the thoughts and felt a familiar noise coming from the depth of his stomach and felt rather embarrassed. He checked his pockets to find that he had some money. As walked down the main town, he still felt the looks of sympathy being given to him as he ignorantly strolled towards the place he had his last meal at. He had more than enough money to satisfy himself to one bowl of miso ramen that he enjoyed last night. Turning around the corner he had found his destination for now. Ichiraku's ramen. There was a familiar fragrance of spices in the air. The atmosphere itself felt very calm inside the said food store. Naruto lazily walked up to the seat and took one for himself. The mid-aged man came in with a kind smile and stood in front of Naruto. Ho! You were the boy who came yesterday. Did you decide to come back for more of my delicious ramen? The man had added with a soft smile. The look in his eyes betrayed him though. Naruto recognized the look but it was different from the looks the villagers gave him today. It was the same look of sadness and understanding that Shisui, Itachi and Makoto had given him after his mother died. The man was probably trying to lift his mood in a light manner without making him wallow in self-pity. Naruto appreciated this and gave the most genuine fake smile he could muster. Hi. I'll have a miso ramen without the menma please. Naruto said with a stable voice. Sure thing, son. The man lightly yelled towards the kitchen and gave the order. Naruto had seen yesterday and to him, she was a pretty cute teenager around the age of Shui. She had light brown hair and a small beauty mark on the left part of her face. Unknowingly, Naruto was wondering whether she would have been a good match for Shui. He had picked up a slight bad habit of matchmaking from both his mother and Makoto. He cursed himself internally for picking up such an infectious habit. Okay, Tu-san. Said as her head peeped out of the edge of the door and her sight fell on Naruto. She also gave a slight smile and talked, oh, it's you again. Wait, you never told us your name. What is it? Oh, sorry. My name is Naruto Uchiha. Naruto introduced himself and bowed his head a little while a kind yet fake smile that was plastered on his face. This was a strange behavior to both the man and, judging by their facial resemblances, his daughter Ayam. The Uchiha don't usually bow their heads to anyone, let alone civilians. Now they remembered who he was. The son of Genjuro Uchiha, who the common people considered a blight on their shinobi history. But another thing he said had caught their attention. So, your name is Fish Cake? Ayam asked with a cheeky grin, and her father was about to say something but was cut off by said fish cake. It means maelstrom. Naruto said with a low grumble. Ayam and her father were slightly snickering at his behavior. One thought however crossed both their minds though. Nope, he's not a normal emotionless/prideful Uchiha. Ahem, the man said and coughed into his hands as Naruto took his seat again. I apologize for my daughter's teasing. She does that a lot of times. My name is Tuchi. He stretched his hand out and Naruto shook it willingly. They began some small chat and then eventually Tuchi decided to try and help the boy. So? Uchiha-san. How do you feel right now? Tuchi asked with a solemn look on his face. Please call me Naruto, Tuchi Aji-san. Naruto said this and Tuchi perked up at him calling him Aji-san. The boy was truly kind and it continuously seemed to amaze the father-daughter duo as to how normal and down-to-earth an Uchiha can be. He came here yesterday but he hardly spoke and there were a lot of people at the same time. And I am doing fine for now. Thank you for asking. Well, remember this, boy. Anytime you feel like you need to talk or just want some company, don't hesitate to come here. Tuchi smiled and put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto was honestly surprised at the man's actions and for the first time today smiled lightly. Arigato Aji-san. Then he found that Ayam came forward and placed a bowl in front of him. Arigato Ayam-ne-san. Ayam could not help but ruffle the young boy's spiky raven hair. Afterwards, Naruto finished the bowl and tried to pay for it but they insisted that this one was on the house. Naruto exited the establishment with a ghost of a smile still embracing his face. He then noticed that a blonde and red blur raced past him and left him spinning for some reason. All he could make out was that there was some orange in whatever shook his world. What the hell was that? He could then hear some excited yelling of a child coming from Ichiraku's ramen and Naruto, deciding to ignore the bizarre event that just transpired, walked towards the Uchiha compound. The Uchiha clan compound. Silence echoed throughout the compound. There were no noises of people walking around, conversing, eating, or any general sign of life at all. There was still some dried blood scattered across the ground. It testified what happened less than 24 hours ago. Naruto strolled through the general empty populace and closed his eyes. This was an exercise he had often performed. Shui told him it would come very handy one day. He did not open his eyes. The images of stabbed bodies and blood splatters were etched into his mind. He could still see them. Eidetic memories stamped into his mind as each and every detail of the gore he witnessed where he used to stroll by came to haunt him. He unconsciously headed towards his house. It was empty. He took off his sandals and went for a shower. After he came out, he put on a black full-sleeved shirt and blue pants. His hair was unkempt and one of the bangs overshadowed his eyes. He roamed around the house a few times more before activating the silence and privacy seals. His brother had shown him the hand seals as to how to activate them and he memorized them with the Sharingan. The reason he had done this was simple. In his room, near the leg of his bed he found that the edge of the wooden floor splintered. It was done with a kunai as Naruto himself had often practiced with them enough to know what sort of mark a kunai leaves. This was strange because this was a secret compartment he and Shursui had made. He placed his arm accordingly on the piece of wood and the entry piece was taken out. He found a storage scroll inside. It had the 3 tomo of the Sharingan at one end of the scroll. Naruto had developed a certain fascination towards Fuinjutsu and had begun the simple level 1 sealing from all the books his parents had. His mother and brother were shocked when they saw him trying to learn seals. It was a rare sight. An Uchiha interested in seals rather than offensive jutsu. He knew how a storage scroll worked and opened the scroll and pushed his chakra into the scroll. Nothing happened and Naruto understood the situation clearer. It was a blood recognition storage scroll, it was a bit of a high-quality seal easily level 5. Naruto bit his thumb as blood started trickling out and he pushed the thumb down on the scroll along with a slight push of his chakra. The scroll opened and found that there were 5 more scrolls sealed into the scroll itself. The scroll however was empty and had no writing on it. Letting instincts take over, he activated his fully evolved 3 tomo Sharingan and saw that there was genjutsu on the scroll. He released with his Sharingan and read the contents in the scroll. Dear Aototo. If you're reading this then it means I am most likely dead. I have written this scroll exactly 1 week after Kaishan has died. I am sorry Aototo but sometimes we need to grow up faster than we should. I am probably committing treason while writing this but you need to know. For the last 3 years the animosity between the village and the Uchiha clan has increased. It started around the time the 9 Tails had attacked the village. The village in general suspects that we were behind the attack. I assure you we were not. I have joined the ANBU Black Ops and I have been assigned to be a double agent for the Hokage along with Itachi. It is my duty towards the village that binds me to spy on my own clan. If things keep going at the rate that they are, I fear a full-scale rebellion will occur and this will lead to a new ninja war. I will continue to do my mission to my village and not be tied down by the ties of the clan. When I was a child, I grew up in a time of war. I never want you to suffer the same fate our family has, I will assure it by any means necessary. Do not worry Aototo. If I have passed on I want you to move on. You have already awakened your Sharingan and I know you will surpass everyone from our family, no our entire clan. You also have the same beliefs as Toussaint and Kaishan. You will not fall to the hatred that has consumed one too many Uchiha. My only regret is that I will not be able to see my Aototo become the most powerful Uchiha to grace the elemental nations. I want you to carry on my dream. I know that one day you will be the one who will liberate the Uchiha's curse of hatred. Aototo, I have taken Kaishan's eyes and sealed it into a stable glass chamber filled with chakra containment liquid. The vial itself is in one of the compartments of this seal. If you should awaken the Manjikyu Sharingan, do not overuse it. Eventually you will go blind. The only way to gain the powers of this dojutsu is to implant new Manjikyu within your eyes from a close relative. I have not taken these because I truly don't feel I am worthy of it. Remember if you do awaken the Manjikyu, you must implant them into your own eyes eventually. Do not think of it as a bad thing. I am sure Kaishan won't mind if you implanted her eyes into your own. You are her favorite. Make sure the operation is done by someone who is highly skilled in Iryo ninjutsu. All the nerves have to be aligned properly otherwise it will be a complete waste. Also, go to the Naka River and head a few miles east from the usual spot where we used to hang out. You will find a ruin of sorts surrounded by Shinto threads and strings. Stand by the edge of the ruins and perform these hand seals. Remember it can't done without the Sharingan and the person who enters it must be an Uchiha. Tatsu, na, Tori, mi, inu, Tatsu, uma, Ushi, uma, yu, Saru, Hitsuji, Tora, mi. These are the hand seals for the secret entrance to the Uchiha stone tablet chamber. I want you to go there and read it. It will explain a lot about the Uchiha clan ancestry and the Sharingan's abilities itself. Remember Aototo, do not fall to the arrogance and hatred that has tainted our clan for so long. I know you are better than that just like Itachi. Also, if you find this delivered to you by not me, you can figure it was Itachi. He also looks at you like his little brother. I want you to know this out, Odo. I love you. We all do. Stay safe and grow up to be the fine shinobi we all know you will be. Your brother Shursui. Naruto was crying freely again. He understood a lot of it now. Shursui's fears were realized and came to fruition. The Uchiha clan must have planned a coup, that is why someone like Itachi Uchiha had killed off the entire clan so that the innocents in the village don't have to suffer. In harsh reality, Naruto did feel a bit of resentment towards the village. They had ostracized his father for choosing the lives of his comrades over the mission, they treated them like scum, and the occasional glares and words of resentment did not help at all. He then remembered what his family taught him. To not be bound by the limits of the clan. Expand your horizons and look at the greater good. Ni-san. Naruto spoke between the sobs. I will not let any of our family's sacrifice go in vain. I will carry on your dreams and protect the village. For all of us. I will protect the village from the shadows if need be. But I will also change the way the village looks at the Uchiha. I will change the Uchiha clan. Naruto opened his eyes as the three tomo spun wildly. If one were to look closer, you could almost see the silhouette of a chakra taking the shape of man that was clinging to Naruto's shadow. The Naka River. Naruto was skipping stones near the edge of the Naka River. This was their favorite spot on the river. He would sit there for hours while sitting with his mother or brother and stare off into the eternal water that always flowed there. He always felt a certain amount of peace when he stood in the exact same spot he was standing in right now. Skipping stones became a bad habit for him when it came to this place. It was instinctual. Shursui had often told him when he was younger that skipping stones was a good warm-up exercise for those who were not shinobi. He used to think it was an absurd lie. He started skipping stones in a shuriken-throwing fashion at 5, and when he finally started his bokujutsu at 6, he saw that it was not a lie at all. The stones were sometimes heavier than conventional shuriken, and this helped him when he started the actual exercise. Though his brother had often told him not to rely on the Sharingan all the time as he believed it would greatly hinder his progress as a shinobi in the endgame. Many of the clan members had often prided themselves on the fact that they had the Sharingan. The branch member, however, could not proudly proclaim that proud ancestry so easily. Very few members from the branch had awakened the Sharingan. Naruto's eldest brother himself had awakened the Sharingan a few moments before his death, as Kakashi had stated before, whose left eye was one the Sharingan Obito had awakened. Shursui awakened it after he was attacked by some ANBU Black Ops, something that bothered Naruto to this day. Naruto does not remember the story as to how his parents awakened, but guessed that it must have been a similar situation. After a few more stones had been skipped, he started towards the eastern direction of the Naka River from where he stood. This was going to be a very defining moment for Naruto. He found the Shinto boundary and saw the cavern that was digging itself below into the ground. He stood in front of the cavern and activated his Sharingan and looked around carefully for anyone. Right now, he did not fully trust anyone, even more so because this was a clan secret. Anyone outside the clan who had gained the knowledge by inept means would face only one punishment, death. Seeing that there were no chakra signature, he took a moment to contemplate the situation. With the Sharingan, the series of lettered kanji could be seen clearly on a large slab at the surface of the cavern. He then was mentally remembering all the hand seals that Shursui had written down on the scroll and released a large sigh before performing them. Tatsu na, Tori, Mi, Inu, Tatsu, Uma, Ushi, Uma, Yu, Saru, Hitsuji, Tora, Mi. Then the slab raised itself as a light blue-colored chakra displayed itself around the corners of the slab. He saw that the slab rose further and was waiting in mid-air. Naruto got down in the dugout earth and saw that there was a stairway leading downstairs. It was dark. Too dark. Naruto let out a small sigh and channeled Katan chakra to his palms after performing the Mi and Tora hand seals. The flame lit in his palm and he noticed that the slab that was suspended in mid-air had come down and closed the entrance. Well, at least the slab knows what it's doing. Naruto muttered as he looked at the walls with pure distaste. All of the walls seemed like they had been maintained properly, but the color was somewhat depressing. To him at least. Plain gray. Just like the Uchiha mindset. How boring. At least make it an interesting color. Naruto then remembered the red and blonde blur that left him dazed earlier today, and the other color he noticed. Like orange. On second thoughts, no. Who in their right mind would wear orange? It must have been my imagination. Somewhere in the Leaf Village. A girl 7 years of age stood at 3 feet 8 inches tall and was grinning with her eyes closed. She looked like a mad scientist with that grin on her face. She had light skin and had 3 faint whisker marks on each of her cheeks. Her face had baby fat, which was an added factor to her bubbly cuteness. Now she opened her eyes and a deep violet shade could be seen clearly. Her hair, sun-kissed blonde hair, had streaks of red and it was smooth and flowing. It was done in twin pigtails. She wore an orange hoodie which had some blue in it and wore orange pants as well. As if it couldn't get any worse, it was neon orange. It stood out way too much. All of a sudden she sneezed. Someone must have caught my prank. Uchiha Stone Tablet Chamber. Naruto made it all the way down the stairs and found the said object that was mentioned in said scroll. The Uchiha Stone Tablet. It was granite in color and seemed almost as ancient as the village itself. Of course it was. It was here before even the village started. Naruto went over and started to read the stone tablet. It was unreadable. He activated his Sharingan once more and saw that he could now understand what was written on the tablet. The first contents of the stone tablets had contained general notes of the Sharingan. Its function and abilities to copy any jutsu down to the last detail and make a perfect copy. It had however failed to mention the fact that there was no guarantee the copied jutsu would be as powerful as the original jutsu it was derived from. Shursui had explained this to him a year ago. It also contained information on the maturity of the Sharingan, stating that the minute each Sharingan I obtains 3 tomo the Sharingan has been perfected. The next content was the details on the life of Madara Uchiha. It seemed strange to him. Why would the stone tablet have writings on Madara Uchiha? He then saw that some of the notes themselves were left by Madara himself. It contained notes on how Madara played a huge part during the era of the Warring States and was considered to be one of the most powerful Uchiha in existence. He had often fought against the Senju clan of the forest and particularly against their leader at that time. Hashirama Senju. Even then he was considered the god of shinobi. After years of never-ending conflict between the two clans, the Uchiha and the Senju contracted a peace agreement between the two and formed the first ninja village. It came to be known as the village hidden in the leaves. Every other elemental nation then adopted this system and hence, the shinobi villager per nation system came to be. Sometime after Tobirama was made Hokage, Madara had defected from the village and went on his way becoming a rogue ninja. He swore that he would get rid of the paradox created by the village system and bring a true peace. That was his opinion that was scribbled into the tablet. He returned with a vengeance. Armed with the 9 tails, he fought against Hashirama Senju and changed the entire landscape that forms the border of the Hai no Kuni. The devastating effects of their ungodly battle is still present today. It is now known as the Valley of the End. 2 titanic statues of Hashirama and Madara were erected there as a testament to their historic battle. To the Hidden Leaf Village, Madara Uchiha was a traitor. He was the definition of everything Konoha ever went against. All the people generally regarded Madara to be nothing but a malevolent force in the shinobi world who only knew how to create mass-wide destruction and chaos. The Uchiha clan themselves held a high disregard for Madara. He was the reason why, according to them anyway, the village would always suspect them. He was the ghost of the Uchiha clan. Ironic how they ended doing the exact same thing he did only some decades apart. To Naruto however, Madara Uchiha was a target. A level that no other shinobi could ever reach. When he once said that he wants to reach Madara Uchiha's level, his mother gasped and bonked him on the head. Naruto never understood why people looked towards Madara in such an antagonistic way. Sure, he went against the village. He brought the Kyuubi and fought Hashirama Senju, he threatened to destroy Konoha itself. In general, he is the one shinobi a person should never dream to be. Why not? There was no denying the power that Madara held. He was the only one who could match the first Hokage, who is generally regarded to this day to be the strongest shinobi in history. Naruto wanted to be that strong. He wanted to reach the level Madara was at, but he would never turn his back on the village. Not after how his family had given their lives to protect their home. Doing that would be tantamount to spitting on their graves. Moving on, he read the second description of the tablet. He found the description of two dojutsu that were clearly written as forbidden jutsu. They were kinjutsu and absolutely forbidden to use. Regardless, Naruto read on. The first one was Izanagi. It was a powerful genjutsu that was cast on the user instead of the victim. When the Izanagi is activated, the boundaries between reality and illusion are discarded for the user. For a brief amount of time, the caster of the Izanagi is able to control their state of existence, i.e., warp reality for themselves. The main usage and purpose is for the user to cast off injuries or mortal wounds as mere illusions, and then fade away, only to return to reality unscathed. The price for this genjutsu was also too high. Once the caster would use the Izanagi, they would permanently lose the light from one of their eyes. They would become blind from which eye the jutsu was cast. It was also stated that many Uchiha members had abused this jutsu and got lost in the power of the Izanagi, which lead to inner conflict within the clan. Members would fight each other over the supremacy of their visual prowess, and the usage of the Izanagi became a common phenomenon, leading to the death of many members. Seeing this, the Uchiha clan had come up with another jutsu to counter this jutsu specifically. It was the perfect counter to Izanagi. This visual kinjutsu was known as Izanami. Izanami was different from Izanagi in many aspects. Whereas Izanagi had warped reality itself, the genjutsu prowess of the Izanami depended on physical sensations between the user and the target. To activate the technique, an arbitrary moment would be chosen at first. The caster then uses their Sharingan to remember the physical sensation felt by the bodies of both the caster and the target during that instant, call this moment A. Then after some time, the user must then intentionally replicate the sensation in the same way of that captured moment once more. They have to memorize this moment as well, moment B. The flow of time between the two events must also be carefully considered and recorded. Several other moments can also be recorded, but it is mandatory that the initial moment and final moment must be the same for the jutsu to work. The Izanami is then activated and the opponent's consciousness is then trapped in an infinite loop of events between the two moments. Between moment A and B. The more moments recorded between the two moments would result in a more effective application of the Izanami. Once captured, the body of the target stands motionlessly while the infinite loop of events keep repeating themselves. Even if the target becomes aware of the sensations and tries to cast it off as an illusion, it would be impossible to escape, unless one had truly accepted their fate. The real reason this jutsu was developed so that the abusers of the Izanagi could realize what they have done and finally realize their mistakes, so that they can reprimand themselves. In this case, the users of the Izanagi. The illusionary caster in the genjutsu is also somewhat sentient. The actions in the loop of events such as verbal actions would also be repeated on a never-ending loop. The illusion of the caster would also keep telling the victim to take a closer look at the chain of events brought forth by them and acknowledge their mistakes. The Izanagi has the power to alter destiny, but the Izanami has the power to decide destiny. As the same case with Izanagi, the usage of the Izanami also causes blindness to take over the eye from which the genjutsu. Ironically, the Izanami is not to be used on enemies, but on friends who have lost their way and is used as a means to help them find themselves again. Naruto was deeply affected by the two kinjutsu he read about. Silently, he prayed to whatever god was out there that he would never have to use either of these jutsu in his natural life. He then got on to the topic that was crucial to the Uchiha heritage and the powers their eyes held. The secrets of the Manjikyu Sharingan. It stated clearly that the Manjikyu Sharingan was the next level of the Sharingan. The only way for a person to achieve the higher power that is known as the Manjikyu Sharingan is through killing the person who is closest to you. Naruto now frowned at that statement. Something's wrong with that statement. It's almost like as if someone wrote that there on purpose. Naruto had awakened his Manjikyu Sharingan without killing anybody. He was pretty sure that his parents and brother had also awakened theirs without killing anybody that was close to them. They couldn't. They were just not that sort of people who would kill a person they love, they hold dearly to their chests. The same could be said for Itachi. The whole statement itself caused Naruto to disregard whatever information the tablet may present next. Still, curiosity took the better of him and he kept on reading. The stone tablet had nothing else written on it. But Naruto knew better and remembered the words Shisui had written and activated his Manjikyu Sharingan. It stung a little bit as he closed his eyes for a moment before opening his eyes. The four-bladed scythe will present in his eyes. Maybe it's because I am not strong enough to wield it yet. Gotta do this quick. He then read the tablet once more and found out about the abilities the Manjikyu Sharingan grants. The first one was Tsukuyomi. It was considered to be a powerful genjutsu that alters the user's effect on time itself. The amount of time spent when caught in the genjutsu is exponentially multiplied to that of the actual time spent in the real world. Naruto shivered as he remembered the effects of the jutsu. How he had to watch Itachi slaughter the entire clan, murder Makoto and rip out Shirsue's eyes. The next ability he read about was Amaterasu. Amaterasu was a visual jutsu that depended on precise visual focus. Upon the mere intensity of the gaze, black flames would conjure on the location and incinerate the object. The Amaterasu flames could not be extinguished by any normal means. Only the caster of the jutsu has the ability to negate the flames, and that too requires great focus. When left unattended, Amaterasu will continue to burn for 7 days and 7 nights before extinguishing on its own. I wonder if it can be sealed. Naruto mused as he remembered Shisui sealing a fire jutsu into a scroll. Must be one hell of an elemental capture seal to seal flames like Amaterasu. Now came the part that scared Naruto a bit. The Kodo Amatsukomi. It was considered to be the perfect genjutsu that a Sharingan user could ever hope to awaken. The Kodo Amatsukomi would literally invade the mind of a subject and implant ideas. Absolute control over the mind, while the victim would have no idea that said person is under a genjutsu. The victim would be entirely convinced that every action they are taking would be according to their free will. However, the drawback was that to fully utilize the effect of the Kodo Amatsukomi, both eyes would be needed to perform the genjutsu on a perfect scale. Such a powerful genjutsu. In the wrong eye sockets, this can cause widespread panic. Naruto then went on to read about the infamous space-time jutsu of the Manjikyu Sharingan. The Kamui. The Kamui had 3 abilities. One was that the user could create a void or a black hole on a small scale to absorb/transport a certain object to a personal dimension of said visual jutsu. The second ability was a transportation technique that took the user itself to the personal dimension, and then reappear to a certain location whose entire geography was well versed into the mind of the user. The third and most dangerous ability was intangibility. The body or chosen parts of the body would not exist in this realm and phase through whatever attacks that would be cast at them. The severe drawback of this ability was that the user could not attack in this state and had to materialize to attack. This gave the opponents the time to attack within that same time frame. Every jutsu has a weakness. Naruto muttered to himself. This is what Itachi had once taught him along with Shisui. Even an invincible jutsu like the Kamui had a weakness on this scale. To most it would seem invincibility, but a seasoned shinobi could exploit this weakness and use it to his advantage. Naruto then read the next topic, which was both exciting and bone-chilling for him. The Manjikyu Sharingan could control tailed beasts. The Manjikyu Sharingan was capable of enhancing every other power the user had. Even a normal genjutsu would be nearly 3 times as powerful. The Manjikyu user would be able to control a tailed beast through their visual prowess and for all intents and purposes, turn the mighty beasts into pets. Naruto figured that Madara must have controlled the 9 tails through this. It was also mentioned that Tsukuyomi and Kodo Amatsukomi are the perfect genjutsu to control tailed beasts. Of course, powerful genjutsu other than these could also control, but to a much lesser scale. They could however suppress the chakra that a Biju or its Jinchuriki would be moderating. This was way too much information for Naruto to handle. Thankfully he had brought along a scroll and was furiously writing down all the contents of the stone tablet. He would later evaluate all the writings and make his own conclusion. Then came the next ability granted by the Manjikyu. A technique. A technique that is considered the pinnacle of the power the Manjikyu holds. The ability to summon an ethereal warrior's body around the dojutsu user's body. It acted as both as the perfect defense and a brutal offense. The Susanoo. The Susanoo was considered to be the final ability that the Manjikyu manifests. Legends state that the Susanoo itself is capable of holding on its own against tailed beasts. Naruto figures that the entire situation must depend on the user. Just having the Susanoo and utilizing the Susanoo properly are two completely different things. The Susanoo itself consists of 5 stages. The first stage would form a rib cage made of pure ethereal chakra. Each user had a different colored Susanoo. This stage acts mostly as a defense. The second stage forms a skeletal head and hands which can be used to attack the enemies but has a limited range unless the user moves along with the Susanoo activated. The third stage has ethereal flesh covering the Susanoo and allows more mobility. In some cases, the Susanoo has 2 additional arms protruding out. Usually this happens in the next level. The fourth stage has a shroud of armor covering the Susanoo, increasing its already sturdy defense. This one also allows the Susanoo access to weapons in accordance to the user's abilities. The fifth and final stage of the Susanoo is called the full-body Susanoo. It is stated clearly in the stone tablet that those who see the perfect Susanoo facing down on them don't live to tell the tale. In this form it is said to be at the same heights as the tailed beasts and has a complete body. It consists of 4 arms, covered by reinforced armor and a prominent Tengu nose. It also has a certain long-range weapon known as the Magatama which is hurled at the opponents. It can easily cause widespread destruction without much effort. However, the prices for all the magnificent abilities that the Manjikyu is the same. Vast amounts of chakra usage and exhaustion. There is also a very important factor about the usage of the Manjikyu Sharingan. Those who overuse their eyes will eventually go blind. The only way to retain the light of these eyes is to replace your original eyes with the Sharingan of another who has awakened the Manjikyu themselves. This will cause the 2 Manjikyu to overlap and negate the blindness caused by the usage. These eyes are known as the Eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Naruto then closed his eyes for a bit and deactivated his Sharingan. He sat down and unsealed a water bottle that he brought with him. He knew there were still some things to read, so he activated his Manjikyu once more and started to read. The next passages of the stone tablet shocked him. The stone tablet was apparently created by Hagoromo Otsutsuki, better known as the Sage of 6 Paths. The stone tablet was his creation and the passages inscribed were written by him. Apparently he had fought his mother who was considered to be a cruel godlike being. She was considered to be the first user of chakra. She had eaten the fruit of a forbidden tree and obtained the ability to mold and use chakra. Later on her son, Hagoromo had also inherited her powers and had a legendary dojutsu known as the Rinnegan. This was considered to be the most rare and powerful of the 3 dojutsu. His mother Kagaya Oitsutsuki had used the tree's power to reflect a never-ending genjutsu off the surface of the moon and trapped the people in the infinite Tsukuyomi. Hagoromo later defeated his mother and freed the people with his Rinnegan. The Rinnegan apparently granted its users powers that was unlike any other and gave them the ability to use yin and yang chakra. Later the tree from which the fruit was eaten had come to life and took the form of a hideous beast with 1 lone eye and 10 tails. This beast was known the Jubi, the 10 tails. The Sage of 6 Paths later fought the Jubi who had come to wreak widespread destruction and reclaim the chakra that was stolen from the tree. The sage then defeated the Jubi and sealed its chakra into himself. He later separated the Jubi's chakra into smaller parts inside his body. They took the shape of 9 different beasts with different amounts of tails. They were later known as the tailed beasts. Hagoromo then roamed the world and spread ninjutsu. He became known as the father of all shinobi. Hagoromo had 2 sons. The older had inherited his mental energy and his ocular powers. The younger one had inherited his physical powers and dense chakra. On his deathbed, the sage chose the younger son to be his successor, who believed that true peace can be achieved through the combined efforts of people. The older brother had always believed in power and conquest were the means by which the world would attain peace. After the sage died, his sons had fought time and time again. The tailed beasts had reformed and each went their own way. Even now the descendants of the sage's sons were enemies. The older son's descendants came to be known as the Uchiha. The younger son's descendants came to be known as the Senju. Hence the cycle never ends. At the end stone tablet was a passage inscribed by the sage himself. Seeking stability, one god was divided into yin and yang. These opposing two acting together obtain all things in creation. This sentence had two meanings according to Naruto anyway. 1. Two opposing forces would act together to bring peace. Or, 2. A person with both those powers could bring peace himself if he willed himself to. Naruto guessed that the combinations of the Senju and the Uchiha bloodlines would mutate the Rinnegan to exist. This is way too much information lying around on a stone tablet. Something's not right. Naruto stared at the tablet once more. He found another passage. When someone who possesses the power of samsara approaches the moon, an eye will open that is reflected on the moon to grant the eternal dream to those who were wronged. Naruto sat down and closed his eyes for a long time. So the Mugen Tsukuyomi will redeem the Uchiha. Such nonsense. To take away the will of the people and trap them under an illusion forever. How despicable. Rakudo Sennin. I don't know why you wrote that second verse. But, I am going to go with first conclusion of working together with an opposite force. This village itself is a symbol of what can be achieved when people work together. Though there are a few things that I'd like to change. Naruto got up and looked around the chamber and found a secret compartment. It was hidden under a genjutsu. It contained scrolls of ninjutsu and genjutsu. Naruto took them and sealed them into the scroll he brought with him. I'll return it later. He got up and was going to go the way back out, but saw there was another flight of stairs in the opposite direction and headed up. He used his Sharingan and performed the same hand seals. The door that blocked his path moved away. He was now in the Naka shrine. So the clan built a secret bunker beneath the shrine. No one would suspect if anybody held meetings there. How Uchiha of us. Naruto rushed back to his home. He sealed all the scrolls into his hidden compartment. Thank the sage that Shursui had left more empty slots in the blood recognition storage scroll. He would have to study all the scrolls later. If he starts his training now seriously, he could deal with problems much more easily in the near future. He then got ready to go to the funeral. He took a good look at his room with his Sharingan to memorize where everything was. He could not trust people easily now. Unless they were genuinely dense, of course. Naruto stepped out of his house. He walked towards the gate of the clan compound to see that Sasuke waiting for him. This was a strange sight for him. Sasuke Uchiha had never even deigned to speak to him willingly and was now waiting for him. Maybe the clan massacre changed him. Where the hell were you? Sasuke asked with a cold tone. His eyes looked like they could bore holes through Naruto's body. Sorry. I still feel a bit weak. I had gone to the Naka shrine first to PR-. Save it. Sasuke cut him off. Even now you disrespect your own clan. At least have some respect for the dead. Sasuke walked off leaving Naruto behind. Naruto simply looked at the fading figure of Itachi's brother walking into the distance. Looks like I was wrong. Kami, if you're out there, please help me bear my stuck-up Uchiha brethren. Konoha Cemetery. There was large table near Hokage burial sculpture. It had another sculpture that depicted the will of fire. It represented the will that Hashirama Senju believed in. The belief that people should band together and put aside their differences to work for a better future. It was the same belief that the sage's younger son believed in. Now Naruto, after seeing the devotion his family had towards it and how they would give their lives to preserve this, also believed in it with all his heart. The stone tablet only went on to further increase his faith. On the table were pictures of all the people that were massacred. Only 2 pictures mattered to Naruto more than anything else. Coincidentally enough, both were placed side by side. The first was Shisui Uchiha's. They could not find his body and assumed that he was dead, slain by the hands of Itachi as the village proclaimed. The second one was that of Naruto's aunt/mother-like figure, Makoto Uchiha. The only person after his family that gave a damn about him. He let off a sad and heavy sigh. What did she do to deserve this? What did any of the younger children do to deserve this? Because of the foolishness of some people, the entire clan has to suffer. I will not let this happen again. The Uchiha clan will be redeemed. I will protect this village and the dreams of my ancestors. Madara Uchiha may have tried to destroy this place, but he also founded this village. The Uchiha clan and the elders had tried to rebel against the village in general and died because of them, but they forgot that this was their home. I will keep the dreams of my family alive. I will protect the village Shisui Nii. Obito Nii, I may have never met you, but I will continue your dream and become Hokage and forever change the way of the Uchiha. To-san. Ka-chan. I will make you proud. Naruto laid the flowers on the pictures and personally laid more flowers on the graves. He saw that the clan heads of Konoha had come and some of them had offered Naruto their condolences. Their children and other members of their families had come as well. There was also a general number of civilians that had turned up as well. The surprising fact was that some of them had offered their condolences as to Naruto. That was a strange experience for him. Usually they throw verbal daggers at him, then Naruto understood the bigger picture. Trying to gain favors from the Uchiha clan, huh? Figured I was too young and naive. How foolish. He then saw that Sasuke had a genuine air of sorrow around him and was going to speak to him. He may have been an ass, but he was still a clan member. He did not get the chance to. He was surrounded by many civilians, one of whom Naruto recognized. The woman in particular had a high-pitched voice who had often verbally berate his family. Seeing her, Naruto just walked away. He would have time to speak with Sasuke later. He then walked out. All the time he felt someone was watching him. Naruto's house, Uchiha clan compound. Naruto activated the privacy seals which he saw from the scroll. Apparently Shisui had gone to great lengths to secure the house with seals. His fascination towards Fuinjutsu had often drawn scoffs from fellow members of the clan, but Naruto now saw the advantage of it. He would later have to study it to a great extent. He then remembered what Kakashi, a former teammate from his eldest brother Obito's team, had once spoken to Shisui about. A single well-placed kunai can kill a man who knows over 1,000 jutsu. Wise words indeed. Now let's get started. Naruto took out a scroll and started to read it. He had already mastered the Academy Basic 3 a year ago and was well on his way to learn tree walking. Though his Bokujutsu without the use of Sharingan still needed more work. According to Shisui and Itachi, Naruto had low Jounin level chakra but not much of a control over it. Then he finished reading one of the many scrolls that Shisui had left him. Solid clones. Takes up a strenuous amount of chakra. So this is why shadow clones are forbidden jutsu. But then again it has mental and muscle memory shared functions, meaning the user receives all the memories and experiences of the shadow clone. This may help more than I thought. Naruto released a sigh and studied the scroll in front of him a bit more. I have a lot of work to do. Time skip, 2 years. In the Naka Shrine secret chamber. Katan, Gukaku no Jutsu. Suetun, Taihuden. A large ball of fire met with a large projectile of water head-on. The bright red flames slowly, but surely consumed and overpowered the sphere of water and headed towards the caster of the water jutsu. Upon impact, the boy consumed by the flames popped up into smoke. Damn it. My water style is still this weak. The caster of the fire jutsu yelled in frustration. The caster himself is 4 feet 6 inches, and he still had spiky hair that just reached his forehead and 2 bangs framed the sides of his face while some of it went back down to his neck. He wanted to grow it longer but he decided against it. For some reason, him and his eldest brother Obito had some resemblances to their ancestor Madara. If Naruto kept his hair longer then he would unmistakably look like him and this would cause more turmoil for him. The village had ordered the massacre of the Uchiha clan because of an attempted coup, and if he starts to look like their greatest traitor then he'd be executed before he had a chance. Over the last 2 years Naruto has been training himself vigorously. The Shadow Clone Jutsu in particular helped more than he would admit. The problem was that until recently he could make only one clone and then by the end of the day he'd be exhausted both from training and the maintenance of the clone. Now he could make 3 and go around easily. In terms of chakra he had low Jounin level. His control with chakra was better than he thought he would have though, probably around low Chunin level. He recently finished tree walking or in his case, wall walking. He had begun secretly training on water walking when Sasuke wasn't around. That was coming along nicely too. If he had more time without looking over his shoulders constantly he could have finished it in a little over 10 days. Last year he had discovered that he was a natural sensor. Strangely enough he sometimes felt people around the Uchiha clan compound and he figured it must have been Anbu or Danzo's men. Shursui had particularly left behind warnings about the man named Danzo Shimura and told Naruto to avoid him at all costs. Apparently he was the head of the foundation or root as some called it. They were a set of ruthless black ops who obeyed Danzo more than the Hokage. Naruto had become a little paranoid by the end of the 8th year of his life. He had dedicated his free time entirely to training. Ever since he learned about the change in the academy curriculum he had gotten pissed off. How did Konoha think that basic Bokujutsu, the Academy 3 and some chakra theory would help prepare them for the real world? It was a cruel and terrible world. Naruto was a living example of what the shinobi world could do to you. Shursui had also told him to make sure to bash the civilian council as much as possible. They were pointless and when the situations are maneuvered properly their decisions can be made absolutely useless. He had unknowingly started to become what he did not want to be. An antisocial Uchiha. He himself did not even realize when he started to outright become annoyed by the general people. People would sometimes try to speak, he brushed them off albeit in polite manner. Unlike a certain Uchiha who merely hn and walked away with a cold glare. He could have sworn he heard a banshee shriek during one of the incidents. The only people that Naruto ever spoke was the Hokage and Sasuke. The Hokage, being the kind old man he was genuinely cared about Naruto. Even after the whole incident with his father, he remembered hearing from his mother and Shursui Nii that old man Hiruzen never berated them and considered the villagers to be fools if they could not recognize the importance of Genjuro and Obito's sacrifices. He was one of the people Naruto would sometimes even smile with. With Sasuke, it was more of a need-to-know basis. He had basically started asking him whether he knew any jutsu and what Itachi did to him during the night of the massacre. Naruto simply replied that Itachi had caught him in a genjutsu and kept showing him the events of the massacre and then Naruto would choke back some sobs. Every time he spoke about that he remembered the scenes of Shursui's eyes being ripped out and Makoto being stabbed. He had puked a number of times when remembering this. But, he also remembered why Itachi did this. If the Uchiha clan did go through with the revolt, successful or not it would lead to a war. The world didn't need a 4th Great Ninja War. Also, with Sasuke he wanted to know if Naruto knew any jutsu to which he replied that he knows the basic Henge jutsu and Katon, Ichi, the most basic fire jutsu or if you could even call it a jutsu. Katon, Ichi was simply molding chakra and producing a small flicker of a flame on your fingertip, even academy student could do it. Sasuke then, with arrogance, asked if he could perform the great fireball technique. Now Naruto being the kind person he was would have said the truth and smiled. But ever since he read Shursui's scrolls and the Uchiha stone tablet he did not know who to trust. So he lied, he did not know the fireball jutsu and in a rare show of kinship or clanship Sasuke showed him how to do the fireball jutsu. Naruto nearly smirked at the size of the fireball. He could make it twice as large as that and fire it 4 times, that was his limit back then. Naruto had thanked him, but Sasuke once more being the infant ass he was brushed him off and treated him like the branch member he was. Naruto kept his anger in check and constantly reminded himself, this is Makoto Oba-chan's son and Tachi Nii's brother. Don't kill him. Apart from them, he would sometimes speak to the father-daughter duo of Ichiraku's ramen. He had even stopped his visits there once learned to cook properly. Thank Kami, his mother left scrolls upon scrolls of her delicious recipes. He had even invited Sasuke for a little lunch one day but Sasuke refused. But one thing was certain, Sasuke behaved much more socially with him more than he did with the entire village in general. He'd have to fix that, but eventually even Naruto stopped trying and minded his own business. He started to just focus his time on the various scrolls left by his brother and the other scrolls he discovered at the Uchiha stone tablet. His fully evolved Sharingan training was coming along nicely but it did leave him visibly strained after long-term usage. He did not attempt to use the Manjikyu because he knew that not only would he go blind from usage but he would also leave him with a case of chakra exhaustion. If his body could not handle the Sharingan without strain, how could he even hope using the Manjikyu in his eyes? Fuinjutsu and Bokujutsu were coming along greatly as well. He couldn't start Kenjutsu because he did not have a blade. He always thought that Shisui looked so cool with his Tonto. In terms of Fuinjutsu, he was midway through Fuinjutsu. This had played a large part on his chakra control and understanding. He still did not know why people underestimated the power of seals. They were deadly if used properly. Naruto thanked Shisui who had copied these from the Uzumaki clan's sealing scrolls. They were an extinct clan who specialized in Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu. At least that's what Naruto learned from history books at the library. They were also cousins of the Senju clan. They had created various seals that could seal tailed beasts into humans, making them Jinchuriki. Hashirama's wife was Mito Uzumaki, who is still considered to be the most dangerous kunoichi to ever walk in the elemental nations. Now Naruto is fairly confident that he would be able to fend off against low chunins with fair ease and probably draw against mid-level chunins. He would start weight training later as Shisui's training scrolls had indicated. He had often spent time at the library for hours without saying a single word, unless he couldn't reach the upper shelves which he didn't need most of the time. Naruto now once again took out a piece of chakra paper and channeled his chakra. It split into 3 parts. 2 parts in equal size, one had literally caught fire which indicated his high fire affinity and the other one crumpled up significantly. The smallest part was soggy. This indicated that Naruto had natural affinities for fire, lightning, and wind. His water was significantly weaker than his other 3 affinities. He was currently working to increase his affinity for water but was failing. He figured he would have to do water-based chakra exercises to get a better control over Suiton. He sighed and realized that someone had entered the Naka shrine. He went upstairs and saw that it was himself, or rather his clone. He dispelled the clone and sat in the shrine for some time. The great thing about shadow clones was not only the shared knowledge but also the physical benefits that came with it. He had experimented with this once last year and left a shadow clone at home and do chores, but also to relax and sleep for a long time. Needless to say, when the clone dispelled, Naruto felt more relaxed and felt like some of his energy had returned. He was sure that his family was smiling from heaven at seeing his useful deduction. He wasn't wrong, Satsuki Uchiha was a happy woman right now. Back to the plot at hand, Naruto once more peeped into the stone tablet chamber and saw that there were no visible traces of the jutsu that were fired there. Or any traces of chakra as Naruto had constantly sparred with his clones. Maybe this place has a self-maintenance jutsu. Naruto thought aloud as he put a hand on his chin. Who am I kidding? If a jutsu like that existed then people would never work. Naruto exited the shrine and went to his house. He did not feel like cooking. Tomorrow would be a somewhat important day for him. The academy would start. It's going to be a long and boring 5 years. Sigh, I seriously hope there are interesting people there. Naruto said with a mumble. He then looked at the clock and figured he'd go out to eat today. Maybe I should go to Ichiraku's. I haven't exactly been nice to them recently. Naruto put on a deep blue shirt and changed into some black shorts. The shirt did not have the Uchiha clan symbol. Why, you ask? 1. He didn't like to flaunt it off and put a giant target mark on his back. 2. From what he learned from Shisui's notes, he would soon have to face the bane of the Uchiha clan. Fangirls. Naruto shivered at the thought of them. The way Shisui had specifically written about them, he was outright scared. Naruto shrugged the terrifying thoughts aside and decided to go out. Konoha main town. Naruto walked by as generically as he could. He mostly avoided making eye contact with the people. Over the years he had started to resent the people because they showed they were two-faced opportunists. The same people who glared at him now greeted him with smiles. He kept his stoic face up while suppressing the emotions he felt. He found his desired location and entered Ichiraku's. Welcome to Ichiraku's. How may we oh Naruto? It's been a long time, my boy. How are you? Tucci exclaimed with genuine happiness and surprise. Naruto couldn't stop small grin from appearing on his face. I'm fine, Tucci Aji-san. Naruto bowed his head and sat down. How have you and Ayame-san been? I'm sorry I can't visit as much as I want to. It's all right, my boy. Tucci said while placing a reassuring hand on Naruto's shoulder. I'd be lying if I said I know how you feel. But as I said before, we're here if you want to talk. Ayame said that you were probably the most polite boy of your age. Naruto embarrassingly scratched the back of his head. Geez, Aji-san. Don't say it like that. So can I have some ramen? Well, of course you can. Which one will it be? I'm not sure. Let's go with one of your choice. Naruto smiled and said this. Well said. Ayame. One pork ramen with extra toppings. Make it special, we've got a VIP here. Tucci's statement made Naruto feel sheepish and warm at the same time. They're really nice people. Naruto thought with a small smile. Okay, Tu-chan. Ayame's voice came from the kitchen in the back room. Naruto waited for a few minutes and then Ayame herself came and immediately ruffled Naruto's hair while asking him where he had been with a glare. Naruto shrunk under that glare. It was the same one his mom and Makoto Oba-chan gave him. Why are women so scary? Naruto had been sweating bullets and gave a polite and believable explanation. He was genuinely surprised by the delicious taste of the ramen. It was far more superior to the miso one he had. He finished it and paid for it much to the annoyance of the Ichirakus and then had some small talk with them. At one point, the Konoha Academy topic came up and Naruto mentioned that he would start his journey tomorrow. Oh, so you'll be attending the academy as well? Good luck, Naru-chan. Ayame exclaimed as her face got annoyingly close to Naruto's, who turned red and shifted his gaze. Ayame and Tucci giggled at his shyness. One thing caught his attention though. Ayame said he would be attending the academy as well. Ayame-san? Naruto asked with some nervousness. It was somewhat of a personal question as Naruto thought. Is someone you know going to start the academy as well? Aren't you a smart one, Naru-chan? Ayame said. In fact, Kasumi is going to start the academy as well. Is she your little sister? The way Ayame spoke indicated excitement on sibling level. Shisui often spoke like this at Itachi while bragging about how Naruto would be better than Sasuke. You could say that Ayame's answer left Naruto a bit confused and Tucci spoke up. Kasumi is a little girl who comes here all the time. In fact, she's my #1 customer. Tucci gave a small laugh. She's around your age and quite a ball of energy, that one. Oh. Wait, why does she come here all the time? Aren't her parents with her? Naruto asked and saw the sad looks on the face of the Ikarakus. Naruto immediately understood and apologized to them. They said it was all right. Apparently they were really fond of this Kasumi person. He could only guess what she was like. Maybe she was kind and polite like him. She'd probably be well-mannered. The gates of Ikaraku's ramen were shot open as someone entered. Yo. Aji. Ayame-chan. The next Hokage is here to bow. A voice of a girl invaded the beautiful landscape of silence. Naruto was looking at the person the voice belonged to. She was around 4 feet 2 inches and had light skin. 3 whisker marks were endeared onto each cheek. Her face had significant amounts of baby fat. Her blonde hair looked as if the sun had decided to kiss it. There were noticeable shades of red in them as well, and it was done in twin pigtails. However, three things had caught his mind more than anything else. Her lips were pink. Naruto could tell when women put on makeup and other cosmetics, because of his sharp eyes. The second was the hideous garb of orange that was all over her body. Seriously. Why was it glowing? The third and the last feature that captured his entire attention was her vision. Deep violet eyes. They looked so happy and full of life. It was entrancing. Naruto was lost for a moment in those violet shades as Ayam coughed to get her attention back. She had a cheeky grin on her face, one that mirrored the ones Makoto had. Before Ayam could say anything, the orange-clad girl spoke up.
Ha!
Said girl was pointing at Naruto. You have girly hair. She then laughed. Naruto's sweat dropped. She doesn't even know me and is openly criticizing me? Well, Naruto, I'd like you to meet Kasumi. Our #1 favorite customer. Tucci said as Kasumi came up and took the seat that was a bit away from Naruto. She was grinning and Naruto wanted to speak to her more, but against his better judgment decided not to. He could speak to her later. Well, old man, I think I'll be leaving now. Naruto got up from his seat. Thank you for the meal. Tucci and Ayam also said goodbye to him. Naruto smiled at them both and saw that Kasumi was looking at him with a strange expression on her face. It was kind of cute actually. But Naruto never voiced it. He looked straight at Kasumi while he was still smiling. See you later. Naruto left and exited the store. Kasumi was sitting silently in her own thoughts and eventually spoke up. Oi Aji. Who was that girly boy? Kasumi then exclaimed. Tucci and Ayam were looking at her with piqued interest. Kasumi's never asked about anyone before. That was Naruto. Why did you want to know? Tucci asked.
Meh.
No reason. I just wanted to remember the name of the girly boy. Kasumi said as she gave a grin again. Ayam's eyes glinted. Oh my. Ayam said as she was smiling. Kasumi. Do you
Like
him? Ayam rolled her tongue at that one word specifically. Somewhere in an alternate dimension, a cute blue flying cat sneezed cutely. Eh? Kasumi asked with a deadpan expression. What do you mean, Nei-chan? Kasumi asked with confusion clearly evident on her face. Sigh, you'll get it when you're older. How about some ramen and Ayam asked. Yup. Kasumi exclaimed happily with her hand in the air. She was then waiting for her glorious ramen to arrive. But now she had another thought in her mind. That girly boy didn't stare at me like everybody else. Naruto, huh? I think that means fish cake. Achoo, Naruto sneezed while he was walking back. Who the hell would be talking about me? Naruto thought out loud. He then saw a couple of civilians huddled up together. He could sense something weird about them. I know that scene all too well. Usually when he saw civilians huddled up and keeping a hush-hush manner, he knew they were planning something. Most of the time it would include them berating him and his family. He deeply hated this, and he would be damned before he let these worthless bags of flesh and blood do something about it. Luckily for him, he had some gear with him, including an extra crow mask that belonged to Shursui. He hinged himself to look like an ANBU and put on the crow mask. Thankfully, he was suppressing his chakra to a near civilian level. Whatever you bastards are planning, I am not letting you get away with it. Naruto scanned the area for any other ANBU. To his surprise, there weren't any around. ANBU Black Ops should be stationed. He then sensed a large amount of them being gathered at the Hyuga compound. 2 other were also fighting, judging by the signatures. Some Kumo delegates had arrived today and this shit went down. Of all days. He silently followed the crowd while jumping from rooftop to rooftop. Some of them had stones in their hands. He was a bit surprised to say the least. When they used to say those things to him and his family, they never even once thought about getting physical in their beratings. Everybody knows. You cross an Uchiha, you die. Main clan member or not. Long before Naruto knew it, he was in the red light district. It was a bit of a rundown and probably the least cheap place to live. It also was the spot for drunkards and thieves. Thankfully there were no rapists around anymore. Ever since he heard rumors from Shursui about some snake lady or something like that. Seeing the spot the action was about to take place, Naruto was going to turn around but something caught his eye. A walking set of familiar neon orange. On top of it, a mop of blonde hair with some red in it. What is she doing here? Oh right. Why is the crowd moving after her? The mob of 8 people silently made their way following Kasumi. Then one of them threw the rock at her. It hit her arm quite violently as she dropped a fox mask. Naruto, enraged, immediately activated his Sharingan. How dare they? To hit a child like that. His gaze turned towards Kasumi and he gasped. What in Kami's name? Naruto was staring wide-eyed. Her chakra network's level were off the charts. It was ridiculous. Even Shursui and Itachi didn't that much chakra. It was way too much for anyone. He decided to move in and act, but the next words of the villagers froze him in his steps. Take that, demon.
Yeah.
Hit her some more. Why did you do that? Kasumi asked while she was crying. Those violet orbs showed so much hurt as she clutched her arm in pain. Some people in the mob actually stopped their rant. Naruto felt as if someone stabbed him with a kunai right there and then. Why did it hurt so much? Was it because she was an orphan like him? Or was it because the villagers had ganged up on 7-year-old girl like that? Because you're a demon. You killed our families all those years ago. What are you talking about? I never did anything to anyone. The girl was openly crying now. Because you're a demon. You killed our families all those years ago. Wait. That much chakra in her. Don't tell me. Yondaime. Why would you do this to her? Shut up, you demon. The leader yelled as a mad look came to life on his face. He picked up another stone and was aiming that for her head. He threw it but it got deflected by another rock. Who did that? Who dared to save the demon? I did it. Zashu. A cold voice was heard by everyone. They looked for the source. They were a bit worried because of the way the last word was uttered. What's wrong? Speak up. The voice was resounding from everywhere. Hey. Someone go get a Chunnin. They can dash. Yes. The voice said once more. Get a Chunnin. That way I can find out who else is going to hurt this little girl. The leader then felt a cold sharp metal being pressed onto his neck. Everybody else gasped. There standing before them was an ANBU Black Op ruthless killers, all of them. They were the elite ninjas of the village who dealt in assassinations. What was one of them doing here? They were visibly shaking as concentrated amount of killer intent hit them. One of them had peed. Tell me, you bastard, the ANBU with the crow mask spoke. Do you wish to die? No sir, have Murkdash. The man didn't get to finish as he felt the metal being pressed even more as a small trickle of blood flowed from his neck. Do you know what I am? The captive nodded. Good. Then you know that I can kill all of you worthless civilians without even trying. If the Hokage asks, I'll tell him the truth that you insignificant specks of flesh were abusing a harmless girl. Then your entire family gets what's coming to them. Do you want that, bastard? No sir. Please let us go. The ANBU retracted his kunai from the man's throat and reappeared in front of the leader. He punched him in the gut and proceeded to beat the rest of the civilians. You civilians don't have any control over this situation, so don't even think about going to that circus sideshow of freaks that you call a council. I am an ANBU Black Op. I only answer to the Hokage and no one else. If I get every single one of you and make your bodies disappear, no one will give a damn. He was then placing them under a genjutsu. One that would change their minds on this. Make sure I never see you or any of you lackeys, including the ones not here, hurt or bother this girl ever again. Otherwise one of two things will happen. 1. You die and I hang your bodies over the Hokage monument to show you why this is a shinobi village. Or 2. I keep you alive in an undisclosed location and you will be begging to be taken to TNI. Am I clear? The man finished. They all nodded and were frozen still at the man's proclamation. He was right. ANBU Black Ops were untouchable. If the civilian council even thought about raising this, they'd be kicked out before you know it or worse. After a few more moments he hissed at them and they all ran away. Crow then looked at Kasumi. She was still crying. Puffy eyes. Go to your home. The man said with a final tone. Oh okay. The girl got up and was walking away. She turned around once more. A small smile made its way across her face. Thank you. She ran away into the distance. Her figure was shrinking until it disappeared. Naruto felt strange and he looked around. He dropped the henge. He looked confused. Her smile, it was so. His attention then went to the mask that was still on the ground. He could feel her signature and decided to go after her. He followed her signature to her apartment. The whole building was quite old. He went to her door, or he assumed this was hers. He was hesitant. His pulse was racing. Just give her the mask. Naruto. You can do it. Hell, you were going to kill that civilian few minutes ago. Wait, what? Shrugging those thoughts aside, he knocked on her door. He knocked once more and then the door opened. Kasumi came and she was wearing a white t-shirt with the Uzumaki swirl in the front and black pajamas. Her eyes were still puffy. Hey. It's you. She exclaimed with some nervousness in her voice. She then noticed the boy raised her hand and she backed off a little. You dropped this. Naruto said as he handed her the fox mask. I'm sorry, I couldn't bring the ANBU earlier. You brought the crow guy? She asked with a monotone voice. Why? Well, for one, the villagers shouldn't bully anyone like that. He said in an angry tone. Also because. Well, you're kind of like me. What do you mean? Kasumi asked. Well, I don't have any parents either. Naruto said and Kasumi looked down. Oh. I'm sorry, Kasumi was going to say something more but Naruto spoke first. What for? It's not your fault. Kasumi looked up and then Naruto was looking at her eyes. Cerulean pools stared into the violet orbs. It took some time to realize what both of them were doing and then they both blushed while looking away. Sorry, both muttered at the same time. Naruto smiled lightly and Kasumi grinned. You look better that way. When you smile. Naruto blurted out and then put his hands on his mouth. Stupid Naruto. Why would you say that? Kasumi blushed once more. This was the nicest thing anyone other than Hokage Gigi or the father-daughter duo at Ichiraku's said to her. It's okay, she said as she looked down hard at the floor as if she was trying to melt it. Thanks. For bringing the crow guy and my mask. It's okay, Naruto said, who was still nervous after his previous blunder. Anyways, see you later. Oh right, I never asked your name. My name is Naruto. My name is Kasumi. The next future Hokage Bayo. She exclaimed happily. Okay, then Kasumi. See you around. Naruto waved a
Goodbye.
and left. Bye. Kasumi waved as well and she closed the door. Sometime later. Kasumi brought out a cup of instant ramen and put hot water into it. She absolutely hated when you had to wait 3 minutes to wait for it. Her thoughts then went to the new acquaintance she made today. He was nice, for a girly-looking boy. She thought with a smile. She cursed as she saw only 1 minute had passed. Data Bayo? Naruto thought out loud. Must be a verbal tick. It's kind of cute though. Damn it, Makoto Oba-chan. He could almost feel as if she was looking at him with a teasing grin. Again, he wasn't wrong. Naruto had walked out of the red light district and made it all the way back to the Uchiha compound. He went into his house and ate a few fruits. A new day would start tomorrow for both of them. The beginning of their lives to become a shinobi. As both of them went to their beds, they had a similar thought and smiled. He has pretty eyes. Naruto's house, Uchiha clan compound. Naruto yawned. He slowly got up and sat in bliss. He felt annoyed. Today is the day we start that academy. Naruto yawned once more. Well, at least things will be interesting from here on now. Naruto got up and looked at the clock. It was 8:35 a.m. The academy induction started at 8:15 a.m. Oh shit. Then in an epic montage of heck and rush, Naruto took a shower and changed his clothes. He was wearing a full-sleeved high-collared black shirt with the Uchiha crest on his back. He wore dark blue pants and was munching on 2 pieces of bread while he was running to the academy. Of all days for me to sleep in. It had to be today. Konoha Academy. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Why did I stop and help that old lady with the heavy groceries anyway? Thinking about what Naruto just said, he sighed and realized the situation he was in a few minutes ago. There was no choice. It's what his brothers had done before and he ended up doing a few minutes ago. The true curse left by Genjuro Uchiha to his sons, helping frail old grandmas with their shopping bags. Seriously, what were they thinking while carrying those heavy bags? Naruto neared the front gate of his class. Room 105. The sliding door would reveal the class in which he was about to stay for 5 years. 5 years of absolute rubbish. He had half a mind to go to the Hokage's office and tell him about his progress with the fully matured Sharingan and whatnot. Then he remembered how Shursui wanted him to have a somewhat excuse of a normal childhood. Fat chance of that after witnessing your entire clan getting massacred by a person you consider your brother figure. Still, Naruto respected his late brother's wishes and would comply with them. He'd pretend to be an average genin. Even that word sounds wrong. A genin is nothing but an overhyped academy student with a headband. Sighing once more, he closed his eyes. No matter what happens, he'd have to hide his true strength. He could have sent a shadow clone, but did not know if there were going to be any spars today. If one hit was placed properly by the academy students as he would let his guard down, his entire cover-up will be blown. If that happens, Naruto was sure that the person known as Danzo, so prominently mentioned in Shursui's scroll with a ridiculous amounts of details, tried to make a move on Naruto. He slid the door open and immediately hated the choice he had made. Room 105, Konoha Academy. As the door had fully slid open, Naruto saw his designated Chunin teacher. The man was wearing the usual Chunin attire of black shirts, black pants and green flak vest. His hair was somewhat like a pineapple. I don't know what his Irika's hair looks like, if someone knows let me know, and had a scar running across his face, crossing his nose. The Chunin instructor looked at Naruto with somewhat calculating eyes. The boy before him was somewhat taller than the rest and looked like as if he had run a literal mile to get here. In reality, Naruto was sweating not from the run he had made, but from carrying the bags of generic old lady number 1. Seriously, how did they even get the bags out of the shops in the first place? I hope you have an explanation for why you are late, young man. The Chunin instructor asked. Well, sensei, you see. Naruto scratched his head and smiled sheepishly while thinking what to say. Then he remembered the stories of his oldest brother Obito when he used to be a genin. An old lady was carrying some heavy grocery bags and I helped her carry it to her home. The Chunin instructor face faulted. Is this kid like a mini Kakashi or something? I hope he doesn't start wearing a mask. Somewhere in Konoha. And Dog Mask wearing ANBU Black Ops stopped dead in his tracks as he looked up at the sky. Can you feel it, Obito? I think there is a kindred spirit somewhere. Senpai, is something wrong? A cat mask wearing female ANBU asked the white-haired Dog Mask wearing ANBU. Oh. You said something? Inu asked with a lazy voice. Nothing. Let's get to the Hokage's office quickly, senpai. Nico replied with an irritated tone. Room 105, Konoha Academy. The entire classroom was silent hearing his ridiculous excuse. Seriously, who would believe something like? Really? A loud energetic voice broke the glass of awkward silence as Naruto looked towards the source of the voice. He felt a little glad when he saw the person. She was sitting alone at the farmost corner of the desk. She was wearing a bright orange t-shirt and dark beige pants. Her hair was still done in pigtails. The blonde smooth hair was there with the spicy wisps of red in between them. And of course, the violet eyes were gleaming with innocence. She was also smiling. Naruto let a ghost of a smile come on his face after seeing her. Man, she's really cheerful. Realizing he would be staring into her eyes again, he stopped and bowed his head a little in front of the Chunin instructor. Gomen-sensei. It was the truth. I assure it will not happen again. Naruto raised his head and looked at the Chunin, whose face was somewhat satisfied after the proper apology. Okay. Make sure it doesn't happen next time. My name is Irika Yumino and I'll be one of your main instructors until you graduate, the man now known as Irika stated before turning to the class. Okay, students. Since you've all had the chance to introduce yourselves, I believe he deserves it as well. Please state your name before the class. Arigato, Irika-sensei. Naruto said as he nodded towards the Chunin instructor and turned to face the students as he bowed his head a little. My name is Naruto Uchiha. It's nice to meet you all. Naruto then looked up and critically calculated all the students who caught his eyes. First was a boy who also had pineapple-like hair and had a lazy air about him. The next was a fat kid munching down on a bag of chips. A boy with red markings on his cheeks and a puppy on his head was sitting with a boy whose face was covered by the collar of his shirt. Said boy was also sporting sunglasses. Then his eyes fell upon a white-eyed girl with blue hair who was sitting with Kasumi. He had figured that these were the kids of the clan heads if their looks were anything to go with. Naruto guessed they were from the Nara, Akimichi, Inazuka, and Hyuga clans. He then wondered where the Yamanaka clan heir was, since there was always a Yamanaka with a Nara and an Akimichi. Then he saw the familiar blonde platinum hair and green eyes. It was a girl. She was the Yamanaka heiress. She was sitting with a pink-haired girl, whose forehead was a bit large for her frame. They were sitting just above the bench of a certain brooding, duck-but-haired boy who was in a foul mood. I really should do something about that stick in his ass. Mental sigh. Naruto then saw that the eyes of all the students were fixed upon him. Mentioning the Uchiha name immediately, he was getting those looks of pity again. His metaphorical fuse would have blown, but he kept his neutral mask on his face. He saw that Irika told him to go up and take the empty seat beside his fellow clansman, Sasuke. He walked up and sat beside Sasuke, who was looking at Naruto with a light glare. How are you, Sasuke-san? Naruto said. Over the years, Naruto had started calling him by that name since his fellow main house clansmen made the difference between them clear. Why did you bow to that Chunin? Sasuke asked. Well, he is our sensei. I have to give someone the proper respect they deserve. Naruto was a bit annoyed but didn't show it. Sasuke gave the universal Uchiha grunt and then Naruto's eardrum was shattered by two noises. One of them was a high-pitched shriek and the other was the wailing of a dying banshee. Sasuke-kun is so cool. The pink one screeched. Sasuke-kun looks so cute. The Yamanaka heiress said with a loud voice. Naruto sighed and sat down. He despised the way those two girls just acted. He noticed that a lot of the other civilian girls were also swooning over his fellow clansmen. He swore he could have seen glowing hearts in their eyes, and he was pretty sure he did see hearts in the eyes of the pink-haired one. Naruto put one of his fists onto his cheek supporting it. Fangirls. How pathetic. They shouldn't even be here if they have a mindset like that. Naruto then saw that Kasumi and the Hyuga heiress were sitting just below his bench and Kasumi waved to him while giving a shameless grin. How are you, Naruto? Fine, thank you for asking, Kasumi. Naruto replied and noticed the strange looks he got from nearly all his classmates, the civilians in particular. Dear Kami. They're chibi versions of the idiotic villagers. I hope I can make it through the next 5 years without killing anyone. 2 hours later, Konoha Academy Spar Field, Konoha Academy. Kami, if you're watching, why did you have to make me keep my promise to my brother? Yami, if you're watching. What the fuck, dude? Less than 2 hours had passed and Naruto had thought several times about just taking out a kunai and ending his own life right there. Seriously. They were just starting chakra theory in the first class and the spars were about to start now. Kasumi had been standing outside the class because she had planted powder in the teacher's desk, which comically blew up in another white-haired Chunnin's face who threw her out of the class. Naruto had to question though, how did she get the powder in the desk in the first place? Then came the shuriken and kunai practicing. It was absolutely horrid. Naruto actually had half a mind to take out a kunai and gut the new Chunin instructor. The white-haired man had also did not teach Kasumi how to throw it properly. He noticed it through the corner of his eyes. But to his surprise, she had landed exactly 5 kunai out of 10 and 9 shuriken out of 20. The entire class, with the exception of Naruto, Hinata Hyuga and Sasuke, who merely scoffed at her poor display. Hinata was unlike most Hyuga. She did not have that air of arrogance around her and was genuinely kind, but she had some major confidence issues. She was the only person in the academy besides Naruto who actually liked Kasumi and understood that she never had any particular training before. Naruto had played the farce of being an inferior Uchiha and to help lift up his friend's mood, he intentionally threw less than half attempted kunai and shuriken. Even after that he had landed 6 kunai and 13 shuriken. He sighed and had an annoyed look on his face. But a soft nudge from Kasumi changed his mood, despite the fact that the nudge had knocked him off balance. He mentally noted that she had a lot more upper body strength despite her slightly chubby appearance. Now came the spars. As usual, the clan heirs were pitted against the civilians, which had resulted in obvious conclusions. Now it was Sasuke's turn, only he was up against Kasumi. Naruto was visibly pissed at this match. Sasuke, despite being an arrogant ass, was still clan trained despite the short amount of time he got and he would no doubt beat Kasumi. But it was Kasumi's last name that snatched away Naruto's attention. Kasumi Uzumaki. If she really is an Uzumaki, why is she living in the red light district? How is the Hokage even allowing someone from their clan to live in such a situation? It's insulting. You wear their symbols on the back of your jackets, but you treat them like scum because she is jailing the thing that could destroy you if left unchecked. I wonder if Itachi's sacrifice was worth all this. The spar between Sasuke and Kasumi had started. It went exactly the way Naruto predicted it. Sasuke countered every move that Kasumi threw his way. She did not have any specific fighting style and was a pure brawler. Sasuke was using the imperfect version of the Uchiha Interceptor Fist. Long story short, Kasumi fell on her back and the goggles that were on top of her head were broken. Though Sasuke's hand did get a bit cut up from breaking the goggles. You dope. Sasuke said as the class laughed at the name he had given to Kasumi, who was tearing up after seeing her goggles broken. Kasumi didn't say anything and secluded herself to a tree, but not before she was picking up whatever was left of her goggles. Naruto felt stricken after he saw her tearing up. He didn't know why he felt so bad. A sharp pang of pain is what he felt when he saw tears forming at the edge of her eyes. He wanted to go and talk to her, but his name was called up and he saw that he would be pitted against a civilian boy. Naruto tried hiding his skills to the best he could and beat the boy after 3 painful minutes of delaying the inevitable. He didn't even wait for the Chunin instructor's announcement as he went to the spot where Kasumi was last standing. She was gone. He went back to the classroom and waited, but there was still no sign of her. The day of the classes ended and he decided he'd go to look for his friend. But delay came in the form of Sasuke. Where are you going? Sasuke asked as he was in his emo mode. Nowhere. Just around. Naruto said in a stoic voice. Whenever he talked that way, Sasuke would be a bit pissed. "You're going to look for the dope, aren't you?" Sasuke asked. "Sasuke-san," Naruto looked at him dead in the eyes, "you really shouldn't belittle people like that." HN. Sasuke grunted and continued. "I am from the main house of the Uchiha clan. Why should I treat a no-named clanless loser with any form of respect?" Naruto didn't say anything and walked away. Unknown to most, Naruto had even activated his Sharingan out of rage at the last statement. Did he really not hear about the Uzumaki clan? "I will see you later at the compound, Sasuke-san," Naruto said and left. But then he remembered that Kasumi was crying because her goggles were broken. Naruto's head then had a shining bulb on top of it as he rushed back home. He had just the thing. Kasumi's house, red light district, Konoha. Damn it! The irritated yell of Kasumi came as her hair flew up. "Goggles. If you don't get attached this time, I will break you up permanently," Kasumi yelled before she tried for the umpteenth time to join the goggles with some glue. It was no use. It kept falling apart. She threw it in the bin and was lying down on her bed now. The goggles were a gift she got from Iam 2 years ago. It was given to her on her birthday on October 10th. It was one of her most precious gifts, especially more important considering that the orphanage had kicked her out. She was silently shedding tears now. "I'm sorry, Iam Ne-chan." She was broken out of her thoughts when a knock came on her door. She rubbed her eyes a bit and answered her door. She opened it and saw that Naruto was there. He had a stoic look on his face. That was strange for her because she liked it when he smiled. Naruto started saying, "I looked for you after my spar. Why didn't you finish the rest of the classes?" Kasumi remained quiet for a few moments before speaking. "Those goggles were special to me. Iam Ne-chan gave them to me as a gift. Now they're broken. I just didn't feel like dash." Kasumi whimpered as she said this as tears threatened to drop from her eyes. Naruto sighed. He did not like this at all. Normally, in the 2 short days he had known her, she was a ball of energy and a cheerful one at that. "Actually, I'm here about that," Naruto said as he had a brown packet in his hands. "What do you mean by that?" Kasumi said with her eyes squinting. She saw the bag in his hands and wondered what was in it. "Well, Naruto projected off into his thoughts. "Well, I thought you liked goggles, so I got you this. But it looks it was a gift and gifts can never be replac dash." "Wait. What's in the bag?" Kasumi asked excitedly. "Well, it's..." Naruto shrugged. "Should I give her this?" "What's in the bag, Tebeo?" Kasumi nearly yelled as her eyes were gleaming again. "Here." Naruto stretched his arm and held out the brown bag. "See for yourself." Kasumi took the bag and ripped it open. Naruto's sweat dropped. She could have just opened it normally. Way too hyperactive. "Whoa," Kasumi said as her excitement reached new heights. She was holding a pair of goggles with orange lenses. It didn't seem brand new, but it also looked like it was well taken care of. It had a single rim. "Where did you get this from?" Kasumi asked and saw that Naruto looked down. "It used to belong to my eldest brother," Naruto said, and Kasumi noticed that he said it used to. He had some problems with his eyes, so he wore goggles. This is one of the extra 2 pairs he had. He died in the 3rd Great Ninja War. During the Battle of the Kanabi Bridge. Kasumi felt bad that she had brought this question up. She herself never had any parents and to some extent understood that he was like her. "I'm sorry," Kasumi said in a low voice. "You can take this back if you want. It's all right. Besides, it's not your fault," Naruto said. "I want you to keep the goggles. From what little I've known about him, he was a lot like you. So I request you take good care of it. Also, make sure you take it off the next time you fight someone." "Okay," Kasumi said as she smiled again. "Hey, do you want to come in?" I've got some instant ramen we could eat. Kasumi had stars in her eyes again at the mention of her food. Maybe some other time, Kasumi. Naruto then spoke once more. You should also eat something other than ramen. Otherwise you're going to be short forever. Naruto said with a light smirk. Ha! Kasumi gasped in shock. How can you say that to Bayo? Ramen is the food of the gods. Nothing else comes close. Kasumi stated. Ramen may be tasty, but it's not the best food for growth. Besides, if there is a food for gods, it's Pocky. Naruto retorted. Please, ramen doesn't even begin to compare to Pocky. Even Shursui and AI knew that. Of course, Itachi and I liked Dango more for some reason. No, it's not. Kasumi yelled. It's ramen. Pocky is kind of weird. Kasumi shuddered at the thought of her happily eating Pocky. Naruto reluctantly gave the grunt. Ramen is nothing compared to Dash. Naruto didn't get to finish that sentence as he saw her hair suddenly flying up. Wait. Why was he afraid? You were saying? Kasumi asked with a sweet smile as she tightly clenched her fist and the nerves on her closed fist could be seen pulsating. I was saying that ramen is a really good food. Naruto stuttered. I just saw my life flashing before my eyes. How did she do that? Oh, anyways, I was going to ask you if you want to train sometime together. Do you want to? Naruto asked. He had already planned to send a reinforced clone to the academy after watching today's performance. There was absolutely no reason for him to go to the academy after observing today's events. Except maybe helping Kasumi. He had to admit there was something about her that made him feel genuinely drawn to her. Kasumi looked down before answering again. Arigato, Naruto. But I want to train on my own. I want to get stronger by myself. Besides, you're an Uchiha. Why would you dash? What do you mean by that? Just because I'm an Uchiha doesn't mean that I'm like them, Naruto stated. He felt weird having this conversation. Does she look at me like I'm just a person from the Uchiha clan? No, it's not that. It's just. Kasumi stopped and looked at Naruto again. With those same eyes. The ones filled with pity. I know that you're kind of like me and you're much nicer than everybody else. But why would you train with a nobody like me? I am an orphan. You're from a clan. The Uchiha clan. It's wrong. I don't want your help. I don't need your help. Kasumi, for pure-hearted as she was a complete idiot when it came to expressing her mind. I don't want your help. I don't need your help. You're from a clan. The Uchiha clan. So that's the reason, huh? Naruto asked in a cold voice. His eyes were shadowed by his bangs. So she also sees just an Uchiha when she looks at me. Kasumi felt a bit scared if she was to be honest. In the 2 days she had known him, he was never this cold. He was polite. Why did he become so cold all of a sudden? Okay, then Kasumi. I'll leave you to it. Naruto said it in a cold and unflinching voice and walked away. He felt like scum for talking to her like that. But she had done the one thing he had not expected her to do. What is she thinking? She has no one to help her and she thinks she can make it through the academy? Because of her large chakra reserves, I doubt she'll ever be able to make a normal clone without proper control. And I seriously doubt the academy is going to teach us anything about chakra control. TCH. Just when I thought I had a friend. What Naruto didn't realize was that Kasumi had called him, but he was lost in his thoughts. He couldn't even feel the single tear that dropped from his eye and rolled down his cheek. Okay, Kasumi. If you want to be on your own, you win. I thought you'd be someone who didn't look at me like I was an Uchiha. It was stupid of me to think that I could have a normal friend. Damn it. Why am I even thinking about her? I've only known her for 2 days. Maybe I should get Obito NAI's goggles back. No, I have another set at home. I hope for your sake you get stronger, Kasumi. It's better this way. Now I can fully focus my attention on training. Good luck, Kasumi. Kasumi was also stricken by what happened, but she was too stubborn and adamant in her decisions. She gripped the goggles with all her might and made a promise. I'll show you how strong I can get, Naruto. I want to get stronger on my own. Kasumi thought as she gripped the goggles tighter, not knowing what she had done. And, for those who are thinking that Naruto is overreacting, he has been looked down upon by the village his entire life. The people look at him with pity or a chance to gain power. This is the first time he had a friend. Now that he was shot down, his turmoil emotions he's keeping bottled up has taken the better of him. I hope this helps. The next day the academy resumed once more and Kasumi tried to talk to Naruto, who simply looked at her with stoic look and uncaring eyes. He seemed so different. He sat alone. Even Sasuke would sit with someone during the classes. One of the girls tried to sit with Naruto once. He adopted the gloom and doom look, but was quickly shut off when Naruto told her to leave with a glare that scared her half to death. Kasumi was still too stubborn to apologize, however she felt a pang of pain when Naruto had ignored her. Naruto did not even bother about anyone else anymore. His Sharingan had become sharper for some reason. His vision seemed more clear than before. He had sent Shadow Clone to the academy with a reinforced seal that was clearly written out by Sure. His clone would be able to take a maximum of 5 great hits before dispelling, and judging by what he saw he knew there was no point in worrying. Besides, he'd make a new clone every day. He was training to drop dead from now on. The clone had come and he dispelled to get the memories transferred to the original. He felt bad that he had outright ignored Kasumi, but she had also not made any progress in their friendship and Naruto assumed that she had decided to forget about him. For some reason he felt like he should have been killed by Itachi during that night. Little did he know. 6 years later. Naruto now stands at 5 feet 5 inches and has gotten a lean athletic build over the years. In accordance to his brother's wishes, he has kept his abilities hidden and stuck to his advice of hiding his acolytes. It worked. The ANBU that used to scout the compound had stopped coming there after 2 years into the academy, but he still kept his guard up. Naruto did not trust anyone and became an Uchiha. Ever since that conversation with Kasumi, he had become cold and distant. He barely ever talked to people. When the civilians would try to talk to him, he would give them a glare and walk away. Right now he was considered an above-average student. Right now he is sitting in the classroom. He is wearing black ANBU-style pants with tapes around his knees, open-toed blue shinobi sandals. He is wearing a blue short-sleeved shirt with a gray-blue jacket on top of it. It has a black collar and a black horizontal line across the chest part and the wrists. The jacket also has the Uchiha crest on the back. He has bought a tanto but left it at home knowing he won't need it today. His spiky hair has been cut shorter with some of it coming over his forehead. His eyes however had lost that brighter shade of blue it previously had. In short, look at the cover picture of the story. Today is the day he graduates from the academy. Naruto has trained himself to a perfect, elite Jounin level ninja. He is sure that he could take on a few ANBU and come out the victor. Oftentimes, he had trained so hard he would be lying in the stone tablet chamber. He would wait for his large chakra reserves to slowly heal him. Against his better decisions, he decided to use the Manjikyu Sharingan and discovered one of his abilities. He had the unholy flames of Amaterasu. In addition to that, his fire, wind, lightning, even water jutsu have improved over a large scale. His Shunshin is now similar to Sure. He had even snuck out of the village on 3 occasions. He had once gone to simply explore the land and learn the area around it. He had happened upon a group of bandits. They were his first kills. He had to take a sick leave from the academy to mentally recover. After that he had done the same thing, and the last time he had gone and killed 2 hunter nin. He was slowly beginning to resent the village for dimming his potential. He also thought about how they betrayed his clan. But then again, his love for his family had bound him to this village. It would be an insult to every deceased member of his family. He also needed to get his eyes transplanted. But he didn't trust anyone, so he still kept his mother's eyes with him. There are only a few people he cared about. The Hokage, because he was the Hokage. The old man gave a damn about him and came to visit him oftentimes. But now Naruto had changed. If he ever did talk, he would refer to them by their last names with honorifics. With the exception of Sasuke, who had grown up to become a pompous brat, weighted hand and foot by the civilian council. They had tried to goad Naruto in as well, but a well-placed glare had shot down their chances. As for the rest of the genin, Naruto was apathetic about them. He knew that most of the civilians save Sakura Haruno, who had her book-smart ability, but that was it, would be retracted from the shinobi program. The clan heirs and heiresses, in his opinion, were weak. None of them could defeat him if he was 11 right now, even with their clan jutsu. The only ones who had a silver of a chance against Naruto were Shikamaru Nara and Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto would not deny it. Sasuke was naturally talented and was far beyond genin level as he is now. If he were to awaken his Sharingan, he would undoubtedly be low Chunin. However, if he lets his arrogance and vengeful drive get the better of him, his progress will be greatly hindered. Well, hindered even more, since Naruto knew that if he were to fight Sasuke to the death, Sasuke would be dead without Naruto using his Sharingan. Shikamaru was a bit like him. He hid his true potential. Well, more like did not want to reach his true potential. He had the same disease every Nara had. Laziness. He was smart though. Naruto observed that he would always start the written exams when there was less than half the time and still finish properly. Then came the one person Naruto was conflicted about. Kasumi Uzumaki. Over the years, Naruto tried very hard to forget about their friendship. He kept telling himself that he only knew her for nearly 2 days. That she also looked at him as if he was just an Uchiha. He could not. She was starting to become a regret that Naruto hid deep inside. His clone would dispel and he would receive the knowledge. In every single memory transfer, he saw that Kasumi tried to talk to him but he would brush her off kindly. He even called her Uzumaki-san now. He felt like scum when he remembers the look in her eyes. But it was for the better. As soon as he stopped trying to interact with her, she started to become a bit more serious. Even with no teachers and no proper textbooks, she had made it this far. He had improved and was no longer the dead last. She was considered an average student. She sometimes looks at Naruto with her regret-filled violet eyes but doesn't have the courage to speak to him. She is a proud kunoichi in the making, but could use some serious help in the chakra control department. As for her looks. Well. She wears a dark orange jumpsuit which has some black in it. She is also wearing dark orange pants. She is wearing Obito's goggles over her forehead. Years ago, some of the boys had teased her and called her an orange tomato because of the red streaks in her hair which were now a bit more prominent. Add that to her bubbly face, she does look a bit like that. But this resulted in something else, something that Naruto had experienced. She got angry and beat the living hell out of the boys who teased her. She became known as the Orange Menace because of her pure rage-induced beatdowns and well-executed pranks all over the village. How did she paint the Hokage monument in broad daylight? That is one of the mysteries that can never be solved. Naruto guessed that she is much more talented than stealth he gives her credit for. Now Kasumi has physically changed after 5 years. She has grown up to be a teenage throb. Her creamy skin, smooth blonde hair with streaks of red and deep violet eyes make her look like an exotic beauty that many of the girls were jealous of. She had also never worn makeup once in her life. Her pink lips were full as well. She had a much more developed figure than the other girls, much to their ire, with the exception of Hinata who wore a baggy coat to hide it. Her chest easily low C-cup. Her hips were also a bit wider. Some of the boys often tried to ask her out but got rejected and literally knocked out in some other cases. Kiba Inuzuka often annoyed her for a date and would have been more annoying had he not had an older sister and terrifying mother. Naruto had accidentally drawn a kunai out once when he saw Kiba talking about how he was an alpha and trying to flirt with Kasumi, saying that she is playing hard to get. He would also mention some offhand comments about her becoming the future matriarch of the Inuzuka clan. Naruto had to admit though. Kasumi growing up to be a beautiful teen did not help resolve the conflict he had about her. He was looking at her again and sighed. The fact that she had become the most prettiest girl he had ever seen in his mind made him question whether he looked at her as just a friend or perhaps something more. He sighed once more as he swore in his mind he heard Makoto Oba-chan giggling somewhere. Unknowingly, Kasumi also turned around and their eyes met. Naruto's blue eyes held conflict, sadness and most of all regret. Kasumi's eyes were looking at him with some hope, warmth and regret as well. They both looked away and some of the boys along with Kiba were jealously glaring at him. The kunai and shuriken exam ended, with Sasuke getting 9 out of 10, 18-20, Naruto getting 7 out of 10, 15 out of 20 and Kasumi getting 5 out of 10, 12 out of 20. The written exams was taken and Kasumi had barely managed to pass. Now came the Academy 3. Most of the students were going and performing the final exam. Sasuke went ahead and performed the basic 3 flawlessly. Naruto was wondering whether Kasumi could pass or not. That girl had absolutely no control over her chakra. Naruto's name was called and he started to go forward. Some of the fangirls cheered, some of the boys got angry and Sasuke scoffed, but one small voice reached Naruto's ear. "Good luck, Naruto." He hesitated for a single second. He knew exactly who that voice belonged to. He wanted to turn around and say thanks. But he was in deep conflict and just moved forward. "Okay, Naruto, please perform the Academy 3. Iruka Amano said. Naruto started with the clone jutsu. A perfect imitation of Naruto appeared beside him. He then performed the henge and transformed into Shursui in his jounin outfit. Some of the students were looking at him awkwardly. Sasuke seemed to be angry for some reason. Kasumi was observing the henge with a calculating look. Then, seeing that only one person was left, Naruto performed the kawarimi with Kasumi and she was standing in the exam circle. She had a vein throbbing in her head. How dare he put her against the wall just like that? She wanted to yell and hit him on the head. But seeing his once bright blue eyes now dull, she hesitated and stopped. Where did the Naruto I know go? Naruto went ahead and picked up his headband and tied it around his forehead. He was walking by and stopped for a single second. He looked at Kasumi. A million questions raced through his head. He wanted to ask her how she was, how her training was going, if she eats anything other than ramen. But he realized about he treated her all these years and felt that he was not worthy of such actions. So he decided on the next best thing. For a fraction of a moment, when Kasumi's violet orbs looked at her once friend, she saw a lighter shade in the now dull blue eyes. Good luck, Uzumaki-san. Kasumi gave a 1,000-watt smile. No way she was going to fail the exams now. She had a chance. A chance to gain back her friend. This was the first time in years he willingly spoke to her. She had something to prove. Naruto sat down on one of the benches. He was waiting for what was coming next. However, after willingly speaking to her after 5 years, a ghost of a smile appeared on his face. A feeling surged throughout his body for a moment. He had forgotten this feeling. He closed his eyes and snapped them wide open to see if the prediction he made was correct. It was.